check out.
Did you know that there used to be something above platinum as far as money went?
Electrum?
No, so Electrum is like halfway between silver and gold.
Oh.
But in 4th edition, you could go up to Astral Diamond, which was like, it was like 10 platinum, so it was like 100, or it was, you know,
a lot of money.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. It was a huge amount of money
Cha-ching.
for an Astral Diamond.
All right. Ugh. Hi. Hi. Anyone else having issues? I think we've.
Don't see a dwarf, but I assume that's just because he's late.
Okay. Text him real quick.
Oh, I have some news.
What's that?
I am no longer wearing my walking boot.
Woo!
Yay.
Hooray!
Congratulations. That totally sucks to have
do you have to do like any therapy or anything?
Yes, I do.
My mom's going through that. It's a great day when you get that boot off. I know.
Yeah, I have a partial tear in my ligament, and then I also have tendon damage. So I have to get everything back up and perfect by January so I can do my clinical.
But there's no surgery, right?
Right, yeah, they said that if the bone had moved that was broken, then I would need surgery, but because it stayed in place, I did not.
Lucky. Well, unlucky that it got hurt, but lucky.
Yeah, good and bad.
Yeah, it all sucks.
It's better than amputations.
Well,
Truth.
What was it that your mom was saying? Something about amputations? Who was it? There was like some kind of wives' tale that was going around. Can't remember what it was.
I don't know.
It was something dumb, like, I can't even remember. Like, my brain is equating it to, like, if you sneeze and don't use a tissue, then your toes will fall off, you know, something. But it was something somebody was trying to spread the word on.
Get these for us.
What? Every chicken was kung fu fighting. Excuse me. Glendon, possibly.
We're waiting for the dwarf to show up, yes?
Yep. I'm giving him... how generous do we want to be?
Well, it's more fun when he plays with us.
We have him 5 minutes. How's that? 7:15?
I'm getting pizza.
I'm good.
I'm gonna eat the pizza.
Me, Mario.
A pizza.
I'm good.
Preston,
Yes.
did you end up shaving your head?
Not yet. It's open till the end of the year, so it's still available.
You're getting kind of old there. It took a while longer for us to see that you actually.
I know, right? Higher and higher.
Feeling like that's a big enough incentive with the lack of hair there.
It's true. That's why I said if we hit 1,500, then I'll shave my eyebrows.
The eyebrows. That's right there. shaving out the eyebrows and a bald head. That's just
be crazy, but it's all for
If
the kids.
anybody
So.
donates $2,000, he'll come to your house and shave your hair.
Yeah.
now we're talking.
Wait. So if that means I can get Preston to come to my house and shave Steve's.
Yes, all it costs is
Incentive.
$2,000 to
Yes.
Extra Life.
Just leave the beard.
Yep, that's one thing that I never let's say we'd have to. It would be weird, like eyebrows gone, hair gone, chin strap still there.
10,000.
And then I'll just have to
raise $10,000. You have to shave the beard too.
Hey Fuzzy,
Okay.
I clicked on the your Extra Life banner on the Twitch,
Uh-huh.
and it didn't take me to the page.
Where'd it take you?
It said, "Oops, the team you're looking for can't be found in the system."
I've been deceiving people all along. 1 second. Let me pull it open. Feel the sound. What to do? Edit panels. Extra Life. Org, please. Let's check this link. Panel. There it is. Extra Life. Log in, please. Boop. Ha 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 ha. There it is. Submit. Try it now. Refresh and try it now. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it should work now. Oopsies! Sorry! I failed. Oh, by the way, look. Look at the shirt. As you can see, 10 years of Extra Life. This is this year's shirt.
Very nice.
So if you want to participate, you can get one of these by, I think it's, you hit a $75 goal, I think. Don't quote me on that. You just have to raise $75 in support of Extra Life, and I think you have to pay $15 is like the entry fee for the premium stuff, like the shirt, because it's basically paying for shipping and all that crap. But yeah, if you want to drop $75 for a T-shirt, you could just buy it, you know, by donating yourself. So pretty good. And if you want to get the phone case that's actually engraved in wood, laser engraved into wood, it costs $999, or you raise, I think it's like $100. So if you raise $100, then they drop it down to $10. So that's their way of being like, yeah, you can buy it if you want to, but. And then all the proceeds, I believe, go to, if you do buy it outright, go to Extra Life. So pretty cool that they do that kind of stuff.
Pretty cool.
All right, it's 7:15. Let's get this party started. We're gonna go to. There we go. Oh, I guess I got to close some of this stuff. So, not working. WTF. Face. Hate that it has to do that. For some reason with my webcam, I have to go and like disable it and re-enable to get it show up. So anyways, just letting everybody know, welcome to the stream, everyone. Quick 1-2, as you guys heard earlier, we were talking a little bit about Extra Life. Extra Life is a charity that benefits children who are in the Children's Miracle Network. Specifically, the one that we're going for is Intermountain Foundation Primary Children's Hospital. And it goes basically to go help pay for sick kids and their different procedures and things that they might need. So far, we raised $215. Our goal, or my goal, personal goal, is $500, but as a team, we're trying to hit $1,000. If we hit the $500 goal, I will shave my lovely receding locks and become my final form. What is his name? Yes, I will become into my final form, also known as Mr. Clean. And if we hit $1,500, then I will. Wait, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1,500. No, did I mix this up? Yes, $1,500. I think that's what I put in the thing. I will shave my eyebrows as well. So, if you want to make me look funny, then we can do that, and you can see it on stream for weeks until it grows back. Other announcements. Of course, we have our every other Thursday. We have our D&D game.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday, and then it's been our cadence for this one has been about every other Friday. So, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Anybody have questions? Potty breaks.
Can I do the intro?
Go for it.
Sorry, can Wise Yori do the intro rather?
Yes, Wise Yori can do the intro.
Okay. All right. If you must blink, do it now. Pay careful attention to everything you see and hear, no matter how unusual it may seem. And please be warned that if you fidget, if you look away, or if you forget any part of what I tell you, even for an instant, then our heroes will surely perish. Is everyone sitting comfortably?
Enough.
Yes.
Then let us begin.
Yeah, he went really dark there.
All right. Well, welcome everybody.
Really well.
So welcome back to the game. As you guys recall, last time you guys had gotten into a fight with several large giant spiders in a very kind of large kind of entry hall, looks some kind of a throne room or very nice waiting room, not really sure which, where you encountered the black spider himself. You guys were able to apprehend Neznar. I don't know if anyone asked his name, but
I don't think we did.
Okay.
Black Spider.
You know him as the Black Spider.
Neznar.
Neznar. But he, again, after a lot of kind of browbeating and trying to get through his shield, he finally decided to go on the offensive rather than the defensive and test your mettle. After which he was very quickly reduced to surrendering.
He gave up a good advantage there.
Yep, he was reduced to surrender, and so at this point, you guys are still in this room after having kind of spoken with him a bit. Nundro being very kind of shaken and found by Roland in an adjacent room, found beaten, cold, and just a husk of a man, a husk of a dwarf, I should say. Much younger than Gundren, but alive nonetheless. Upon kind of completing your business in this room, you again kind of taking in the surroundings. You guys had kind of done a little bit of exploration, found a little bit of loot. You find that the room itself becomes eerily quiet. At which point you hear a loud kind of clicking sound, this akin to a door latch or a lock internal of a door, just clicking from the door that you came through, and the door slowly proceeds to open.
I get my weapon ready.
And you hear a familiar voice as Zaron kind of poses, and he kind of continues to clap, and he says, "Bravo, bravo! I knew that our business proposition would turn out for the best."
I'm gonna walk up to him, and as soon as I get close, I am going to shield smack him in the face.
Okay.
Like I'll just like walk up and just like slam my shield right into his face. Hopefully break his nose.
Okay, go ahead and make an attack with the shield.
Oh, right. I need to.
Why are we hitting him with shields?
Oh, we'll discuss that in a moment here.
And
Let's... Sorry, I can't find my character sheet like I am supposed to have.
It's okay.
Never mind, got it.
I'm gonna wait until the DM starts talking.
Yeah, pretty much. that sounds about right. I don't have an unarmed strike on here or a shield strike.
Okay, that'll be just 1d20 plus your just regular whatever you're using for your weapon. So what is it? +3, +5, something in there.
20 plus, I think it's plus. Well, my weapon's
Plus
+7
7?
because it's magical. But,
Magical, okay.
do +5.
Yeah.
That's about right.
Let's go about +5, and then for your damage, just give it a 1d6. Is it a 4?
Oh, would it not be considered an unarmed strike?
I'm gonna say, like, because you're unarmed, I'm thinking your unarmed is gonna be a little less, like, more soft and palatable. You're hitting him with the edge of a shield, right? Or are you just kind of like
I'm just like
shield bashing him?
flat of the shield, just like
Okay.
full on.
So just like clobbering him in the face. I'm gonna say since it's metallic, we'll just go with a d6 just for damage.
So does that hit? I'm assuming.
Yes,
He's a
that
warlock,
hits.
right?
Yes, that hits. Making sure. Let's see if he does. I'm gonna make a dex save. No, he fails. So you hit him. So for 3 damage. So you see as he's kind of clapping, and he kind of sees you on approach, and he kind of raises his eyebrows and looking kind of a little bit down his nose, just kind of, yes, can I help you? And whack, like right in his face.
Yeah.
And you hear a
then
sickening
I'm gonna-
crack sound as blood starts gouting out his nose, and he's like, "Whoa!
I'm just gonna grab him by the collar and push him up against the wall and say, "You locked us in a death trap."
Okay. So you push him.
Oh, wait, he walked in?
He walked. Yeah, he walked in from the back. He's talking
I
to you.
must have missed that. That's the one, the pink dude, right?
Yeah.
The tiefling,
The
yeah.
pink
Okay,
man.
I thought you were hitting,
pink man,
the
yes.
other-
No, yeah, no.
No, Zaran. He's
Alright,
your
he's pink.
your previous your compatriot. And so as you kind of as you take this and you knock him against the wall, he kind of as you're kind of doing this, you see as he kind of like pulls away, he pulls some incantations, and you see a familiar glow kind of settle on his visage, as he kind of settles back into a kind of a defensive posture, and he says, "Oh, don't get so worked up about such things. Oh my God! Oh, nose.
Nearly died. Our dwarf is still under a chandelier right now.
It's all totally fine. I told you that this was the part of the deal. You had specific skill sets. Gosh, my nose." You did it, didn't you? And at this point, you kind of hearing the voice, you see the black spider kind of perk up, and he looks towards the door, and scoffs a little bit, but otherwise just kind of sits, does his thing.
So I'm gonna put like the flat end, the top of Lightbringer, up against his neck,
Okay.
and say, "Give me one good reason why I shouldn't cement you in holy fire."
Because I helped you. My goodness.
Locking us in a room is not helping.
Now you were all just separated, and I brought you back together, and you cracked me in the nose. Like I said, I knew that this was something that you were able to handle. You obviously handled it. Nobody died. My goodness. Oh.
I turn around from my shoulder and be like, you could have handled it with us.
Well, unfortunately,
Lock the door on us.
unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to be able to do such things against someone I have made a blood debt with. And at which point he's kind of pulling back his sleeves, and you see scrawled in his flesh these kind of like raised tattoos almost in the skin, natural, with these runic kind of values on either of his wrists. And he says, "You see, if I was to raise a hand at him, then I'm unable to do so. This is a magical binding that I've gotten myself in a little further than I would like to have with the wrong crowd, if you will."
With who?
Well, with Nesnar here, I thought I could hoodwink him and squeeze him for money, but apparently he's got the better of me, and here I am.
So what I'm hearing is you're in league with him.
Well, not by
And
choice.
I have the hammer glow a little bit brighter.
No, not by choice, not by choice. This was entirely a business. I did not know who he was or what he did. I only went into league with him to gain information and access, and of course for some of these more powerful trinkets that were promised in this thing. But again, I have come up with the short end of this stick, and found myself in somewhat bondage to this foul creature.
So I sit there for a moment, and then I kind of cock my head a little bit and I say, I'm still not hearing a reason why I shouldn't burn you along with him.
Well. Again, I have done nothing wrong here. I am nothing more than an artificer. I am here to purvey and find out more about this cave. That was what I was hired for. I've not killed anyone. I have not. And if anything, I've saved you on more than one occasion.
You trapped us in a room with a bunch of spiders that tried to kill us.
Yes, and well, if you remember, I did save all of you from that fireball. So a little gratitude would help.
Understand. Are you in league with Nazmar, or are you bounded to him or somebody else?
I am at this moment. This contract is with him. And until the contract is fulfilled, I'm unfortunately.
How did such a contract come to be formed?
Well, upon making certain contracts, there are those who, especially in the magical community, that would like to make sure that these things are sought through to the end, because there are some who might be of lesser continuity and unable to weather certain conditions and might decide to turn tail and run or take some of the profits for their own. And so this is security for some of clients that may require, and unfortunately this one has landed me in quite the pickle.
What might the terms of said contract be?
Well, I was informed to be able to bring him and give him information for this cave, and to deliver him safely to the Spellforge itself, and to instruct him on perhaps more about this particular area. I've already given him as much information as I can, but I have not been able to deliver him to said Spellforge as of yet. Of course, this also contract would be null and void if he was to be in breach of contract on his end, but up until this point, it's not been the case. At this point, the Black Spider, he's just stone-faced, and at this point, just kind of like staring straight ahead, not really, almost aloof, not really listening to what's going on.
So Roland is in an awkward position now because he wants to hurt this guy, but at the same time, this guy's been talking and doing fast talk, and Roland is not very good when it comes to fast talk and knowing what's right and wrong when people are trying to explain themselves. So he'll just like turn his head to the other, still the hammer pressed up firmly against Zaren's neck. Zaren?
Zaran, yeah. He's got his hands up with his sleeves kind of drawn back, and he says, "Now, as a show of goodwill, I will drop my mage armor if you please remove your hammer from my throat."
Okay,
Right.
so I am super frustrated that we decided not to kill this black spider guy.
Okay, there's
And
not.
so I am gonna walk up to the pink guy.
Okay, Zaran.
And just say, "Oh, shut up," and punch him in.
Okay. Go ahead and make an attack. He does not resist. You do have advantage.
How do I do that?
Roll a d20, and it'd be a 1d4 plus your strength modifier.
If you don't have a specific unarmed attack, it's actually just 4 damage.
Is it just 4 damage?
Plus your strength. Yep. So it's like 1d20 plus your strength and proficiency bonus.
Roll20 did an update, and I don't know how to do this anymore.
Okay. Let me look.
Hover on the dice.
Hover on the dice.
What?
Yeah, like on you go to the thing on the left, and it's got like you click on the thing to do it.
Oh, okay. I got you. That is. I see what you're saying.
Click on it, it will pull up. Hold on, let me.
Oh, so roll 2d6, 3d6, 5d6.
Cool. I didn't
That's
know
kind
that
of
was
cool.
there.
Kind of nice. There's a fudge roller. There's a roller to fudge dice rolls.
Okay, so you want me to roll a 1d20, you said?
Yes, roll a 1d20.
You said you had advantage on it, though,
You
right?
do have advantage, yes. So roll twice to see if you get a critical. And he is not resisting, and so we'll just see if he At this point, he hasn't dropped the mage armor. We'll see if it hits. Yeah, so 18 does hit. Roll for damage. Actually, so if it's 4 plus... What's your strength modifier? Even if it's negative.
Where do I find my strength modifier?
Strength. Negative or
It should
plus.
be the smaller number right above your total strength. It should say like 1, 2, 3, 0, -1, one of those numbers.
On the top left of your character sheet next to inspiration. It's like rolling a flat strength roll, but you're just getting that number is the modifier.
It says 5.
5? Plus 5?
That's what Steve says.
If I'm looking at the right spot too.
Hold on. Look real quick. Make sure it's not the saving throw.
Yeah, that was the saving throw.
That's what Steve told me.
Okay. So that's okay. So the 5 the strength, it's to the left. It's near year 2. Yeah, it's the top left.
It's 2 then.
Yeah, that's your base. That's your base one. Those one in the saving throw box are for saving throws. Yeah. Okay, so 2. So that's 6. So at this point, Zaron, he's kind of paying attention to what's going on, and he kind of closes his eyes for a second, drops the incantation, and kind of opens his eyes and just right across his face. So like, I don't, blood and ashes. What is wrong with you?
You're talking too much.
I'm sorry. He asked a question.
I don't
Or
know. Like
excuse.
His nose at this point has, like, one of them is kind of like crusted up with the blood on his lip. The other one is like still gouting out blood. He's just kind of like holding his nose together. Just he's a very
So I
soft
look over
individual.
At Roland and I'm like, "You're welcome."
Thank you. I mean, that helped. I kind of give her like that squinty eye, like, look. So what do we have to do to breach this contract then?
Well, as mentioned, he does that, or he would need to release me from this contract either by verbal or written means. But in this particular case, because it is magical binding, it should release if he basically speaks the either has expired or speaks the incantation, just simply that he would release me from my bonds. Zoran would release you from your bonds, and so on and so forth.
I want to roll an insight check because I forgot that that's a thing.
Hey, roll an insight.
I want to see if he's like being sincere. Sorry, it's not with advantage. It's just a 20.
Okay, just 20. You see that he is being sincere as far as you can see, as far as you can tell from him. He's being very forthright with his. He has nothing. He doesn't seem to be hiding anything from you.
Clandon, can you get the black spider to release him?
You heard, Black Spider.
He doesn't respond. He's at this point. I assume you guys have tied him up. Was that correct from the last time?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been.
So you've bound him. He's kind of sitting there on his knees, hands bound behind his back, and he's just kind of his eyes are closed, and he's just kind of sitting, very very straight and prim and proper.
So you said that. So we're getting no luck with him.
Correct.
So I'll turn back to Zaron and I'll say, you said that the contract was to take him to the Spellforge?
Yes, that is correct, and he already instructed him on how to use it. And I'm not sure how far in vicinity we need to be, but just simply needs to deliver him to the Spellforge safely.
That doesn't sound like a good idea.
Well, I mean,
I'm inclined to agree with you.
So I have an idea.
Okay.
I take out my dagger and I put it to Nazmar's throat. Does that get any response out of it? I need to roll an insight.
So if we kill the dark elf, then that releases the contract. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is correct.
One stone.
Clandon, make me
Black
an
Spider has a lot to answer for.
Clandon, make me an insight check, and then for the after the insight check, to make me an intimidation check with advantage. Okay, so you don't see it. All right, so go ahead with make your intimidation check with advantage, as you are holding a knife to his throat. Advantage 10.
We're not good.
That's okay. So at this point, you see him just kind of shift a little bit uncomfortably as he feels the cold steel press against the side of his throat, and he just kind of says, you know, why would you want someone so useless? He has served his purpose. Why help him? It's what I don't understand.
Like a verbal acknowledgement that the contract has been fulfilled. He served his purpose.
Ah.
I am lawful good.
All right. So you look at Zaron's.
So I go. What was it? What's
We
the
got
word?
him!
It's,
Yeah.
no, it's heard and witnessed is what I say.
Okay.
After he says that.
Okay, heard and witnessed.
So
So
I pour a little bit of that like lawful divine magic into it to see if it will break the contract.
okay, make me a religion check. If it's above a 12, I'll let it succeed.
Oh!
Yeah.
17, it succeeds. So in this you say that, and then he looks over kind of confused at you, the black spider does, and then you kind of pouring this in here, all of you kind of hear this just really distant, like the ticking of a clock, and at that point you see you feel as his, or at least Zaron kind of looks around, and you see just the once raised kind of runic tattooing on his arms just kind of settles back into his arm. And he's, oh, that's much better, and that was easier than I thought.
So I look down at my feet and sigh, really like, and sit down.
Okay.
I'm so angry.
So I'm gonna take the mace away and holster it.
He kind of rubs his throat and thank you very much.
And then I'll go, you're welcome, and I'll pour a healing word into those words as
This
well.
still doesn't
Okay.
mean that we trust him, right?
Beyond that, he seemed pretty trustworthy. It just seems like he's a merchant who got stuck in a bad deal. Now that I'm actually listening to him. So let's see, healing word is...
Okay.
My spellcasting modifier. I don't know what that is. Is it just my charisma?
Are you're paladin? What's your?
Oh, hang on. Let me just look on my
I don't remember if it's charisma or if it's wisdom.
healing word. Oh yeah, it's +2. Okay. D4. Okay, he gets 6 hit points back.
All right, perfect. And you see as he's kind of like, well, thank you, thank you. And then you see kind of the wound stops scouting blood out of his nose, and he, oh, much better. Thank you very much. At this point, he's kind of a little more nasally because he's full of blood clots.
All right. So I'll turn around and I'll say,
He needs a
I think
tamp.
we need to get.
Sorry.
I think we need to get the black spider back to. What is the name of the town?
Fandolin.
Fandolin. Been a while since we've been to Fandolin. I think we need to get him back to Fandolin to stand trial for all that he's done, and we need to get Zauron here with Gundren, because Gundren's going to want to know what he knows about the Spellforge. And we should get poor Nundro back as well.
What happened to Gundren?
He got delayed.
Yes. So, so if you recall, Zaron gave you, he did a scrying at some point for you guys, and I believe he had identified specifically, as well as that he had seen him on the way here, that you guys had kind of overtaken him, gone too quickly, and got here before he did. So.
Did we loot this place?
Yep.
All right.
You are correct.
Yeah, I'm ready to get out of this.
I'm ready to get outside of this cave system. I mean, I'm sure there's more to explore here, but I don't want to be dragging around this drow everywhere we go.
Agreed.
And I don't think killing him is the answer either.
Do we need to gag him or bind or?
Are you asking this out loud?
It would solve a lot of problems, Roland.
Well, I'm not saying anything, but if it'll
condone
make you
things, I'm
feel
sorry.
better, you're more than welcome. And he opens his mouth.
Gag him.
Like mockingly. He opens his mouth.
Aurora, take one of your socks off and shove it in his mouth.
His mouth closes a little. But
Would be better.
Well, but my boots chafe if the sock is off. Like, I have, like, heavy armor boots. Grab one of Dora's boots. Dora's not doing anything.
That he's trapped under this chandelier. Let's just do it right
I've seen him
Venfina pulled him out.
Oh, that's right. I
What's
thought he
that?
was still under there.
Venfina pulled him out from the thing.
I've got some spare travel clothes that I just like pull like one of the claws and shirt or belt if there's some I don't know what.
now. Rub it in dirt before you shove it in his mouth.
So that was a history check because Corey, the metagamer, knows that drow can't stand the sunlight and they can go blind.
Okay.
But Roland does not, so he does not recommend anything of the sort to protect his eyes.
Okay. Perfect.
Wait, would I know that as an Eladrin?
Roll me a history check with advantage. You and Venfina can both, if you'd like. With this one, it's because you're an Eladrin elf. The DC's pretty low. It's gonna be like 10. If it's higher than 10, you'd recognize it. Yep. You remember that drows are a lot of times the reason you never see them unless it's on even if you see them on an overcast day, they're quite uncomfortable to be out in the kind of open world unless it's the pitchest black of darkest nights kind of thing. Venfina, you can go ahead and roll again if you'd like to see if you remember. But you do know that they don't like the sunlight. They are creatures of just innate, just deep darkness. Venfina, you also remember this with a perfect knowledge, with the added knowledge that sometimes they carry around black marbles that cast darkness. There you go. How's that? Extra knowledge for you. You saw through the universe.
You read all of the Drist series.
Sometimes.
As I gag him, I say, I've got more questions for you, but I'll save it for when we're back in town.
Well, we came to this forge. I mean, isn't there something else we need to do in the forge or in the cap?
So Gundren had us here so that we could find and secure the spell forge. Do we want to go secure the spell forge with Black Spider following us around?
I don't like the idea of taking him near that forge.
Why do I have something on me, Preston?
On you? You had something like Holy Protection or something. I can't remember what it was. Take it up. It was you had cast something. It was an effect. Yeah, bless.
Yeah.
Something was an effect.
I'll leave it up to you guys. I personally think we need to get the Black Spider back to Vandalin, but I understand if we
can come back down
Nundro
for
as
the
well.
forge. The forge isn't going
Okay. Tiger Lily kind of comes up and helps. I was gonna call him Gimli. She comes up, also kind of limping herself, but helps Nundro kind of stand a little bit more upright, and he kind of pets on her fur. And Dormorlum also has kind of taken one of his arms and is helping move him around. Well, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it now. Stop standing around just talking about it.
Yeah, that sounds like Dora.
I figured that's something he would say.
Way out.
I mean, it's just kind of back the way we came.
That's what Darling goes, well,
Yeah,
if you
I got
need,
teleported.
I can help you. It's
Yeah,
not a
we
problem.
got teleported.
Oh, right. Yeah, Zaran, do you have anything that can just get us out of here, or do you just know the way?
I know the way. I'll show you with relative ease, as long as there's no additional impediments on the way out the door.
Great. And then once we are on the road proper, I would like a map of how to get to the Spellforge, please.
Oh yes, I could. I've got a few manuscripts that I'd love to show you. That's very, very interesting. And it talks all about these, and he starts just kind of babbling a little bit about
I'm
just different
interested.
things.
Yeah, so I like Roland listens in as we all kind of start moving our way out.
And did you know that the way that they constructed these rune stones, they would take several people in a room and put them together, and
They would put the people together or the rune stones together?
they put the rune stones together. Each one of them is holding one of these other lodestones, which they bring together slowly, and then they smash together and they put some magic, and it's a very fascinating process.
I help the black spider to his feet, and I'm walking behind him with my like right hand, like guiding him.
Okay. So he's
I'm gonna do lay on hands on Tucker though.
okay. Go ahead.
Or whatever the healing hand thing.
Yep. Yep. Go for it.
So is it 4 distinct elemental rune stones that they would put together, or did they do combined?
Well, these ones, it depends on what kind of effect they wanted to have. And if it wanted to be able to go longer distances, shorter distances, you'd have to use a larger lodestone. And they would use these... They'd use these large obelisks. I'm sure you've seen them on the wayside sometimes. They're overgrown with some stuff. But these large black stones, they would use these as waymarkers. And it was really cool the way that they were able to teleport around. And it's very fascinating. Some of it's been lost. And what's this rolling? It's for the Curins. Okay, go ahead and do your Curins. So just, again, he just kind of continues on and on about this.
Yeah, him and Roland are like deep in discussion. And
Okay.
the whole fact that he totally locked us in a room has now gone out of Roland's mind.
All right. So as you guys, you go ahead and heal that. Anything else you guys want to do in this room?
Sorry?
Did you guys have anything else in this room that you wanted to do, or that you guys had?
You
Okay.
said we fully looted it.
Yep. So you guys are able to slowly make your way out. You do go through the maze again. You guys see the kind of remains of dried up ochre jelly, kind of where Plandon and
Flame Skull, do we?
no, but you do again see the kind of the remnants of the fight that both you and Aurora had with the giant Jello monster.
Yeah.
And you guys are able to kind of make it out. You get up and you hear as you're kind of exiting the cave, you do hear Nundro kind of gasp a little bit and kind of sob slowly to himself, and he slows a little bit to stop to mourn for a moment his dead brother, who was also in the entrance that you guys had found on the way in. At which point he requests that, for help interring the body and all that different kind of stuff. You guys get outside. Does anybody help him with this? Otherwise, he's gonna do it one way or another. So
Help him do what?
He
Yeah,
wants
how-
to
inter his dead body, his
or,
brother's
like,
dead body.
bury him there or bring him back to town.
More like either he requests if we can't bring him to rest with the halls of his ancestors, then can we at least inter him in a reasonable place rather than sprawled across the floor with the bones of the orcs and other corpses that are laying about.
Of course, I'll help. In fact, I will perform a ritual.
Okay.
A ceremony ritual for funeral rites.
Okay.
Along with it.
Perfect.
So we do a full funeral rites for it. So that's the specific effect, if that matters. But
Perfect. So you go ahead and you touch the corpse, and you do feel that
it takes an hour. Sorry.
radiant. That's
it
totally
takes an hour for the ritual, but yeah, we do funeral rites for it.
perfect. And at that point, at the end of it, he kind of looks to each of you and he says, "But I know you've done a lot for me, but would I be much of a bother? Can
Would any of you have some gold coins I can use to send him to the other life?
So I give him 2 of mine.
Okay. He says, thank you very much, and he takes them and places one on each eye. At this point, the corpse is kind of like wrapped up and in a reasonably safe manner, where now it's kind of, he puts the 2 coins on and then begins to shovel the mud in, the dirt, at which point Roland can begin, he does his funeral rites, and at that point you guys feel a peace just kind of settle across that space that you hadn't felt in some time. But coming out into the light, as you're kind of stepping forward and doing such, it's still, at this point, it's begun to rain since you've gotten in there. There's thunder and lightning, and you're able to inter the body before this kind of happens. But as you're about to kind of start up on the road, you see lamplight kind of coming up the trail in a small, slowly moving wagon. You hear kind of the clunking, and you hear just kind of the joyous kind of sounds of what you believe to be Gundren singing very loudly and obnoxiously.
I think that's our friend.
You hear so.
So I'll go ahead and meet him on the road, bringing along Nundro and Zaron.
Okay. You go ahead and bring him. Nundro and Zaron, and so you kind of, as you're kind of hailing him down, it's starting to rain a little bit. You see they kind of put their hands up, and they what do they call it? They hood the lantern a little bit more closely. Who goes there? I'm warning you. Don't come any closer.
Relax, old friend. It's just the fated few, with a few extras.
Oh! You about scared the beard right off my neck. What are you doing out here on a night like this?
Well, we just came out after spending a few days within the mine.
In the mine? You found it then?
Yes.
Oh, excellent! You found. And then he kind of is looking around. He scans and sees the face of his brother, and he says, kind of exclaims at, and he kind of, you see it slowly sink in that he sees the state of his brother, and kind of gets this little bit of look of worry, and kind of stops. They stop the cart. He hops down, Sildar, and he says, Nundren, are you all right? And yes, I'm okay. These folks have helped me, and they saved my life right and proper. They've given me a good meal, and they've helped me to inter our other brother, and then so at this point, there's just this little conversation exchange between them.
Yeah, I also supply whatever information they want about like what happened to us in there. I mention and wave to the black spider, like, to show that we have we've captured somebody, the person that's been causing a lot of these issues, as far as we can tell.
Okay.
And then I also introduced
who he works for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, Black Spider worked for somebody?
Yeah.
The goddess.
What's her name? I did
Oh,
not make
Lolth.
note of her name.
Lolth.
Yeah.
Lolth.
And then I introduced him to Zaron too, and say this gentleman here knows a lot about the Spellforge and its location within the mine, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to work out a deal with you if you're looking for information.
Yes, I will be more than happy to be at your service, and my dear, and I've procured things, and at this point, Gundren kind of is ignoring him, comes up to you, and anyone else who's up there, kind of gives you a brief kind of like wrist-to-wrist clasp, and then pulls you in for a hug, and thank you for saving my brother. It's hard news.
I say you dwarves have a nasty habit of getting captured.
It seems to run in the family, doesn't it? Well, I mourn the loss of my brother, but I know he's resting safely in the halls of my ancestors. I thank you for all you've done for him. But there's his sacrifice will not be in vain for this, and please, can you please show me where this entrance is? And at this point, Sildar kind of comes off and engages a little bit more, specifically kind of I would like to speak with our prisoner here. May will one of you please remove the gag? And
I'm still right with him, so I go ahead and remove the gag.
Thank you.
Did we end up covering his face?
Nope.
Nope. So he's at this point. It's dark. You're probably pushing 9-10 o'clock in the evening. Light rain, but he's still kind of at this point, uncomfortable being outside of the cave, visibly uncomfortable, but trying to put on a front that he's kind of more stoic and what have you. He says, "I feared that you've been making quite the fuss in my town, and I will have you know that the Lord's Alliance will have you pay for what you have done. So do not expect to get off easy. This is not the end of the road for you. This is just the beginning of a very long, long retribution." At this point, he kind of looks at him. He says, "What? Please, I believe I have some bindings, more proper bindings than this one. One moment." He kind of goes back to the cart, comes back with some proper shackle, like manacle type. He says, get him secured so that this slippery snake of a creature does not cause further damage into this countryside. These people have endured enough, and without more of him running around.
No worries, I'll see to it.
And make sure that no one speaks with him more than is necessary. He's very cunning, and I'm sure that, as you know, he's being someone of very smart. We would be ill advised to underestimate him. And so
On that we can agree.
Let's keep guard. Make sure that the rotation, and he goes through kind of these just more things, and you see him getting his military mindset. Very much like structure, and okay, now you need to do this, please, you put the camp together, let's get all this, like just starts kind of barking orders. And Gundren's already kind of grabbing his brother, pulling him aside, and sitting him down by the fire, seeing he's okay, getting a tankard of ale, all that kind of stuff. From the cart, he has brought a large cask, so if anyone would like to enjoy the revelries, he does have mead. And you guys are able to, if you so choose, are able to camp for the night.
So I'm gonna turn to Gundren.
Okay.
As we're kind of settling down with dinner and everything, and I'm gonna say, Gundren, you don't happen to have a pearl on you, do you?
A pearl? Hold on, let me see here. And he pulls out a couple of different things, and out of his pockets, kind of looking around, and he said, "Well, I don't have a pearl, but this knife here, it's a little kind of like pocket knife. This hilt here was made of pearls. The way that they had kind of crafted it together. You might be able to use something like this. What do you need it for?"
I just need, it's part of a ritual so that I can identify a few of the items that we received within the...
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, I'll get it back, right?
Of course, yes.
Oh, perfect, yeah. So go right on ahead. And he continues drinking and slowly steps into another round of singing.
I'll turn to Vivina and I'll say, with your permission, I'd like to examine that armor that you received in there so that we can find all this out, and then I can kind of help everybody find out which armor would be best for them.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay, so I'll take the armor from her, and I'm going to spend the rest of my night in my tent, just doing the identify ritual and getting everything prepared so that I can divvy out the loot that we had received from that final fight.
Okay. So go ahead and give me real quick. We'll just go through the list of stuff. So which first?
3 items. Did anybody else have any magic items that hadn't been identified yet?
I don't.
What's the first one? Page?
The first, I don't have a. Oh, sorry. The first one's the spider staff on page 4.
Okay, spider staff. Yeah, got it.
Yep.
So the spider staff. All right. Minions. Party. He is carrying a spider staff, and
Is it really just called spider staff?
yes, that's what they call it. I'm looking for the. I don't see the. Called.
It might be towards the end, the back of the book. There should be like an equipment section.
Yeah, let's look at the equipment because there's not a specific thing there for it. Ha! There we go. All right, staff of defense. Section. Spider staff. So as you're kind of identifying this and you're looking it over, you see that the top of this is the black of the black staff is that adamantine staff, and the top of it is shaped like a spider. The staff weighs 6 pounds. You may be attuned to the staff to gain its benefits and cast its spells. Staff can be wielded as a quarterstaff. It deals 1d6 poison damage on hit, used to make a weapon attack. It has 10 charges that go through to feel the spells within it. It has the spells Spider Climb, Web. Yeah, so Spider Climb and Web are the two that it has. It takes 1 charge for Spider Climb, 2 charges for Web. No components are required, and it regains 1d6 plus 4, whatever. So as far as it's in there, you see that it is it's a magical weapon that would be wielded by whoever.
Okay, by like a monk or like a ranger or something. Somebody who has...
Yeah, according to this, it's just a quarterstaff, so it doesn't have any limitations on class per se.
So it actually says that you can only cast the spell charges if the spell is on your class's spell list. It doesn't have to be a spell it just has to be on your spell list. So
okay,
I'm not sure I can cast that as a cleric.
Okay. Yeah, I know it'd be like a druid, ranger maybe.
What are the spells again? Spiderweb?
Spider Climb and Web. So check and see if you got those.
What are the are you trying to identify everything that we have that isn't already identified, or just things we got on this last trip?
If you have something else that hasn't been identified yet, you can give it to me. I can identify anything.
Rangers can't use those spells.
No, it looks like it's Sir Warlock and Wizard.
Okay.
Do you have something, Sarah?
I have 2 things that have pages next to them, but they sound pretty.
Okay, what are the pages?
45.
45, okay.
It says large, strong box.
Okay, large strong box. So on that one,
if it's magical.
we opened it, I believe. I believe you guys opened it last. Did you guys open it with thieves' tools? Break it open? No, I don't think you did. But this one is locked. And if you, as you're kind of going through, if you want to, as you went through it, you're able to break the lock open. It's not trapped or anything. There is a bunch of treasure inside, as far as like money goes. If you're ready, I can read those off.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll just write it down. I'll divvy it out with the rest.
600 copper pieces, 180 silver pieces, 90 electrum pieces, and 60 gold pieces.
60 gold.
Yep. So you crack it open, and it's just chock full of money.
And then the other one I have is 1 diamond, page 47.
47. Diamond.
If it's not magical, I probably won't be able to identify that specific.
Yeah, there was 3. Looks like there was 3 of them.
It has a page number next to it, so I'm like,
you can give that.
It does have a price, but we have to get it appraised first.
Yeah, we can have. I'm gonna tell you what we'll do is we'll roll with our resident dwarves. See which one of them. History. They have advantage because it relates to. So let's roll time. That's from Dora Morlum. So between Dora Morlum and between him and Gundren, Gundren being more of a merchant type, you're able to ascertain that those, there was 3 of them. I believe you guys might have divvied them up. They are worth 100 gold apiece.
Nice.
And if there was also a pipe in there at some point someone picked up. He could also, if you want, that would also be he could kind of appraise it for about 150 gold.
How much would a silver goblet be worth?
Depends on what page it would. If it was just silver, silver.
Just silver.
It'd be worth its weight in silver. I'd probably say it's like 5 gold pieces, 4 gold pieces.
So I've also got some other things. 9 small gemstones on page 50.
Page 50.
Things appraised.
Yep. So you guys through the night are able to get all these. Page 50.
Yeah.
All right, gemstones, 10 gold apiece for the 9 small gemstones. The ale mug that was made of hammered electrum is worth 100 gold pieces.
I've got masonry tools on page 44.
Page 44, masonry tools.
And I wrote down Thardrin Rockseeker next to it too.
Okay. So as you have pulled up there, let's see, those page 44. Okay. I got it. So you pull out kind of this kit as he's kind of appraising all these other things, and Gundren kind of stops slowly, and he kind of puts his hand on it, and he says, "These were my brothers." And... Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're good.
So he says these were my brothers, and I thank you for bringing them to me. He will be sorely missed, but these tools were craftsman's tools, and I hope that they will continue to serve our family for some time.
I'm glad they were able to find their home. Hand them over.
Thank you, Cladden. And he reaches out again, kind of the forearm, pulls you and pats you on the back with like a half man hug. And he kind of stands up straight and he says, "All right, what else do we have? What else do we have? Get this man another round of ale." And he's getting a little more tipsy and sloppy with his
That's all I had.
celebratory. What else you guys got?
So next is the armor that Vamfina found.
Okay,
the Beholder Room.
The Beholder Room. Okay, that would be the wizard's quarters. Here, the Beholder Room. Treasure Lightbringer. All right, so you've identified Lightbringer. We also have Dragon Guard. This is a +1 breastplate. It has a gold dragon motif worked into its design. It was created for the hero of Neverwinter named Turgon, and it grants its wearer advantage on saving throws against breath weapons of creatures that have the type of dragon, the dragon type of dragon, whatever.
Nice.
So Dragon Guard is that armor.
I actually gave that armor to Clandon because of the dragon, according to my notes.
Oh, okay. So I took it from Clandon then.
What kind of armor?
Yay for notes! It's called Dragon Guard. It's a +1 breastplate.
Oh, is that like light, heavy?
I think it's medium, yeah.
Yep,
Oh, sweet.
breastplate's medium.
Just like a curious, just around your chest.
And then the last one that I have here.
Sorry, what was its name?
Dragon Guard.
Thank you.
And then what is it attuned to?
This one does not require attunement.
Oh, I meant like what dragon? Oh, it's just all breath weapons.
All breath weapons, not specific. Just if it's a breath weapon of a type, if the thing doing the breath attack is a dragon type, dragonborn, dragon, any of that, it grants advantage on saving throws. I was gonna say immune, but I had to double check. Yeah, so it's advantage on saving throws. What else you got?
So the last one that I have that's a magic item, or I believe is magical, are the set of gauntlets with rubies in the back of the hand. That was from the skeletal dwarf in stone.
Skeletal dwarf in stone. Ruby in the hand. You have in your hands the Infinity Gauntlet. No, just kidding. Did I have a page associated with it?
You didn't give me a page, no.
Okay, this
It was
was
down in a little chasm.
chasm. Got
This
it.
chasm right here.
Got it. All right, that helps me. So, here we go. Flip my pages up. Flip, 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 flip. All right. That is room 18. Collapsed cavern. You, after spending some time with this, you see that these gauntlets are the gauntlets of ogre power. So you see that as you're kind of holding these and kind of like spending time kind of identifying these, you feel as though like just simply holding these things that you feel more or less tired than you were before. You feel more like the vitality and the strength, you know, kind of redouble as you're kind of handling these things, and you do find that they are gauntlets of overstrength, which makes them.
It makes your strength 19.
Yes.
Wow.
So you feel that again, just like being around them, and after handling them a bit, you get the sense that the wearer, that because these are magical artifice things, that as you kind of like test fit and put it on your hand and things like that, you see as it starts to shrink or grow based on the person holding it to fit their hands perfectly. So
nice.
That's how we get around the, is it a halfling hand, a dwarf hand, or a half-orc hand, you know?
Yeah.
I have something from page 46.
46?
Platinum rings and a wand.
Oh.
You have a wand?
Yes.
Apparently.
She got it out of the pool.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She went splunking. Alright. The dark pool. Skeleton wearing 2 platinum rings, 75 gold apiece. And he is holding a wand of magic missiles.
So was it 2?
2 platinum rings, correct. 2 of them. 75 gold pieces per.
Yeah. So I'll identify that and I'll hand it directly back to her and just say I don't think any of us can use a wand, but you could probably sell that.
The wand of magic missile. Missile. It shoots projectiles.
Wand of magic missiles.
Pew 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 pew. Anything else?
That's all I have.
I have 3 distinct sigils found at Underground Pond. Timora
Dumathon.
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 Oh, I have it as Thoin, not
That's
Thon.
fine. Let me make sure I'm doing it by memory. You're probably right. Yep, Dumathoin, correct.
What was?
Yep, Thoin, Thoin, or Thoin. I'm not a linguist, so. So what about him? With the sigils?
I just have
So you, if I remember correctly, you had dived in there and you kind of seen that it was a peaceful place, and you'd seen sigils from these corpses that were in there, and so you'd taken them as mementos of the gods that were.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, sigils, as in like their markings.
Signets, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like one of them was one of them probably was like a brooch. The other one could have been like a small what would you call that?
Just whatever their talisman was.
Exactly, it's what a talisman. Yeah. So if you have those, I mean they seem relatively well preserved. Nothing special about them aside from just being symbols of their gods that they worshipped.
That's it.
Okay. So after I've got everything identified, I call everybody into my tent. Gather round, all that good stuff. And when you all walk in, there's a small pile of treasure that's kind of got some gems, some copper, silver, that sort of thing in it. And then in the center, I've got the staff and the gauntlets sitting. And I direct everybody to an individual pile as they walk in, or pretty much I direct Dora to a different pile than everybody else because I had to divvy it up in a weird way. So everybody gets.
Zaron steps into the tent.
Oh, sorry, Zaron. Just the faded few.
Oh, no, my apologies. I thought you said everyone gather around. My bad.
Sorry, my bad.
Awkward.
Yeah, very awkward.
He sees all the treasure, and he's got like, oh, man. And he walks out.
So everybody gets 3 platinum pieces. 35 gold pieces. Except for Dora, I gotta keep his separate.
Dude, they changed the
Yeah, it shows the coins.
yeah.
They're changing it. It's more similar. Platinum's the one between.
No, Electrum's the one
bottom.
between silver and gold. Platinum's the one.
Platinum's at the top, yeah. Should be
Oh,
the
is that worth more than gold?
5
a
gold,
platinum
I
piece is
think.
worth 10 gold pieces.
10 gold
They
pieces,
didn't
that's
have
right.
any Platinum. All right,
I'm thinking Electrum.
3.
Oh, 3. Oh,
3 platinum a piece.
That's 30
So
gold.
Yeah. 35 gold. 56 electrum. 36 silver. And 120 copper. And then everybody gets 2 small gemstones worth 10 gold apiece, except for Dora, who gets 1. Because he got 45 gold instead.
Gemstone.
So Dora got 45 gold piece and
And
1
one
gemstone. Okay. All right. So you put it all together. You guys get all your stuff put into your satchels. You up, babe?
And then after everybody like counts up their money and takes what they need, I'm gonna wave my hand at the 2 magic items and I'm gonna say,
Yes.
now we need to decide what to do with these.
well, I've already have this fine breastplate from Benfina, so how about you with those items?
I'm not sure if the gauntlets will provide too much in the way of a boost for our friend Dora.
Let me check on him.
Because if he's not at 19, he's at like 18, and the only thing that would be better for him
For strength,
would be having 20.
he's at 17 strength right now.
17.
Mhm.
So it would give him a +1, but technically he's getting a feat or a +2 or a bonus
Right.
at his next level. So
Right.
if he doesn't go into strength there, which he will, I'm assuming.
Right.
If not, we can
That's fine.
reevaluate the gauntlets.
Yeah. I'd say he's not here. Then go for it.
Who here among us looks the weakest? Well, it's everybody's strength.
Tiger Lily leaves. She knows she's the strongest.
Yeah.
Mine's 18. I'm good.
Benfina, yours is 18. Okay.
What are we asking?
Sorry,
strength?
hold on. I'm adding.
There was a picture that I sent Becca, and it's true because she's got high strength. I said that you lifted weights today so that you can carry the team tomorrow.
Mine's 13.
13.
That's my.
And then, Clandon, your weapons, are they based off your dex and are they finesse weapons? Or do you have a strength-based weapon?
How do I know?
Your bow is gonna be strength or dex based, but I think your sword is strength based unless you're using finesse.
What is that breastplate? Is it +1 to armor class?
Yeah. So it's a 15 base armor class, and then he gets an extra +1.
Because those are your two, right, Kynan? You got that sword, the +1 sword, and then you've got
Sword
the
and the longbow.
yeah. So your sword would probably benefit from it, but your longbow would not.
So I guess the question is, Clandon, how much do you want to get into the thick of things?
I really like my longbow.
He's always getting hurt.
But I am.
Well, if you wrestle a
Like that
dragon.
laugh, then that was funny.
What kind of? Because Aurora and Clandon, you're both rangers, right?
Yeah.
Clandon, you're taking a different route soon, or are you staying a ranger? Well, like double classing.
Yeah, I was looking at double classing into some kind of magical class, but that's not gonna be for a bit.
Okay. I don't know. It just seems like Aurora takes more of that ranger approach. We're like shooting from a distance. Like maybe Clandon might be.
I mean, nobody wants them. I'll take them.
Well, I mean, so the thing is, I do use a melee weapon every now and then, but I'm trying to take on more of a support role for the team. moving
As a
forward.
cleric, got it.
Which means
Well-
I will be in the thick of things every now and then, but I'll try and be at ranged more. If you are wanting to, be a ranger that does get into the thick of things, then it might be prudent for you to have the gauntlets.
Sure, let's go for it.
Okay.
I'll get in the thick of things.
So they're
gonna need
gauntlets of ogre power, and you have to attune to them.
I'm gonna sleep with them tonight.
Pretty much. And that puts your strength at 19, so that should actually get you a really good bonus for your attacks for your longsword.
For sword.
Yeah. And then I'll look at the staff and I'll say, I don't believe that any of us have any use for this. The best we could probably do would be to sell it and then divide the profits. Oh, and there is also I do have that dwarven ale mug that's made of electrum is sitting in there. And I say, I'll have to sell that before we can divvy out the profits for it as well.
I'm sure Dormarlin would say something about dwarves at this point, but I don't know. I don't know what he'd say.
Yeah. I mean, if Dora wants to buy everybody else out on it, it'll cost him 90 gold.
He'll grumble and concede.
Or 80 gold, rather, actually, because it'd be 100 divided by 5. Yeah.
Hasn't responded yet, so I'd say he concedes.
Yep. Everybody okay with me selling the staff and the gauntlets then? Or not the gauntlets.
What was the staff again?
It's a spider staff. It only works for wizards and warlocks.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Does,
and sorcerers.
Are the gauntlets? Are they a medium armor? Does it?
No,
not?
so you just want to look up in equipment. Just,
Right. Ogre strength.
found them.
Gauntlets of ogre strength.
I just
Yeah,
want
they're
to
not-
make sure I can wear them.
Yeah, they're not actually like an equipment type.
Yeah,
They're
the
just
reason that the spider staff would still do venom, but you can't cast spells that aren't in your profession.
So
It would be
would be good for anybody who wanted to use a staff, but I don't think any of us.
I mean,
want to do
would the
that either.
poison still work if you hit him with it?
Yes, this poison would still work. It's just the actual casting of the spells. You wouldn't be able to do the incantation to be able to unlock that. Or
It'd be like taking a
people with a
flamethrower
poison
and then
staff?
only using the butt end of it.
Yeah.
I usually attack from far away.
Yeah, that's what Becca was saying. So.
Yeah, I'm not normally hand to hand unless I absolutely have to be.
I know of a wise old turtle that might want to buy this wizard staff.
Meanwhile, in
Steve is distracted by something.
in the woods, sitting next to a fire, the crackling, wise old Yori. Ouch! What was that? Someone must be speaking about me.
All right. So if there's no objections, I'll save the staff until we get back to Fandlin, see if I can find a buyer, or the next time we get to a major town, we can try and sell it off.
So, okay, never mind. I'll look it up.
All right. Well, that's all I have for you. So everybody can
Okay.
get out of my tent so I can go to bed.
No, I'm staying. No, I'm feeling really antsy. Want to get back to guarding over our prison.
You step outside the tent. There's a loud popping sound. It's just the fire. You're good.
Ugh, thank goodness. I'm waiting for something to happen.
Thunder crashes. I don't know why this music got going earlier, but the weather's... There we go. It's too quiet.
So, are we doing a short or long rest?
This is a long rest.
Can you only attune on a short rest?
No, it takes an hour. So you can attune as long as you have time to spend whatever adulter time with that object to attune to it.
I'm gonna take first watch. And I'm not leaving Nesnar's side.
Okay.
Okay, well, since you're gonna be with him, I'm gonna go get my attunement.
Okay, and I'm also gonna use 10 minutes of my time to summon, I guess, Vidax.
Okay.
That way he can also be helpful.
Okay.
Watching.
So you guys you're able to resummon him, and you guys are able to watch. Through the night, you guys are able to have decent sleep. I mean, the rain, it doesn't get too bad. You guys are relatively dry, have a nice little encampment, and waken the next morning to the air just kind of drying and becoming a lot more, just drying out from the night, I guess. I'm like total lost for words for that. So you're able to do that. Go ahead and through that night, whoever's on watch, go ahead and make me a Constitution saving throw for me, please.
Who's doing that?
Whoever's standing watch. I know Venfina is watching him.
I'm gonna sleep.
Okay. So you Venfina, you do not even feel the pull of sleep. You are.
Yeah, I don't even know if I want to take a rest, honestly.
Okay.
I was considering it.
So you are, if you you're able to rest as far as that goes, like you're able to keep your mind clear, and despite being in the trance, you're able to keep a complete kind of focus on what's around you. So you're able to get a long rest, no problem. But the next day,
Because my perception is so high.
correct.
Okay, cool.
Sure. So you kind of waken the next morning, the light of the day, everyone kind of comes around the fire. Go ahead and mark down, you don't have to, no, actually you don't need to mark down rations. They were brought by Gundren. Gundren provides the meal in the morning. You see Sildar's with him, helping kind of put the camp together. His brother is just, at the ready, helping everything that his brother needs. He seems to be that adoring younger brother figure type that's just trying to be of use to his brother and is just happy he's not dead, kind of thing. So you guys are able to get ready. At this point, the prisoner, Venfina, you kind of have been sitting next to. He is sitting as well, just in the manacles at this point. He's got the chains that are going between his wrists to his ankles. He's just kind of sitting in kind of like a meditative monk-like stance, just kind of sitting straight backed, not even phased with where, for a man that's in chains, he looks awful comfortable.
Can I roll a guess like a perception check to see if he's trying to do anything sneaky?
Yeah, go for it. 27. So you see, you've checked on a few times. You kind of tug on his chains every so often to make sure that he, it's not an illusion, that kind of thing. And he just seems very content. Just he's
okay.
Biding his time. He seems similar to a spider or a snake that has been caught, and that it is just waiting for its moment to do its thing. So you recognize that he puts off a very dangerous air, but he's not actively doing anything to try and undermine being captured.
I'm refreshed.
I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw for me, please, Mr. Roland. Yep. Okay. So through the night, you're having a little bit of the dreams that you're having are a little austere, but nothing too crazy. You're having a little bit of kind of flashbacks and memories of the individuals that you guys had run into in Phandalin, their masked faces, and then kind of coming about and I've overcome this and standing abroad. But you waking up from it, you can't help but feel a chill, and almost like a breath of your life force is just not quite. It's just a little off canter. You don't sense that you're damaged in any way, but you're a little off canter.
Can I try and identify what this is somehow?
Do we know what time it is roughly? Can we tell by?
It's in the morning. At this point, like let's see, your perceptive person would have it. This would be roughly somewhere about 8-9 o'clock in the morning.
So, question about him: how is he reacting to the daylight?
He is pretty uncomfortable, but he is not opening his eyes. But he's as far as where did you guys, I guess, put him? Would be the question. Because it was raining.
Under a tree, directly in the light.
I would have not done that.
I would have.
I would have been
I was gonna say, I'm not
like a monster. I'm not trying to harm him.
Yeah, thanks, Renfrina.
I'm not. I was gonna say that. I didn't say that, Aura.
Unless
Yeah, you totally shot that Nothic in the head, and we were trying to save it, and you're like, no.
That was a very, very evil creature. That's right.
It's like squishing a spider. Oh wait, we got his black spider right here too.
This person, yeah. Anywho, since I would have turned him so he wasn't directly in the light.
Okay. Well, at this point, ever since morning dawn has come, he winces a little bit, but he keeps his eyes closed. He's not opening his eyes. So this the morning kind of comes. As far as your question earlier, Roland, about if you could roll, make me, since this has to deal with the constitution of a person's soul body, medicine or religion. I'll let you choose.
Surprisingly, I'm actually better at medicine. than I am at religion. So.
Okay. So you get the feeling that the feeling that you have. You don't see any physical signs of it. You're checking your pulse. You're just kind of like sticking your tongue out and looking in your armor to see if it's like spots on the tongue. Are you sick? What's going on? But you do. It's similar to the feeling of atrophy. It is almost as if you spent a little bit too long in bed and something, a part of you is permanently seeming to like it's not something you're just able to just kind of shake off. You can wake up and kind of get the rickets out. You're really have that
Does anybody else
persistent feeling.
Terrible?
Not yet. I mean, unless you want to for flavor.
I'm just saying, I'm speaking
Go for
in
it.
character. I don't think I slept very well.
That's about where I'm at too.
Was I able to attune with my weapon?
Yes. Use which one is
Or,
it?
sorry, the gauntlets.
The gauntlets. Yeah. So you had a dream. Your dream, Clandon, as you were kind of you had attuned with these weapons and kind of had slept with them close to your bed, in your arms, like a new toy. You had a dream of you were walking through this forest, and there was these lush trees and just a vast landscape, and you kind of walking into these hills. You kind of come upon this very large creature that kind of turns the corner. You recognize this to being an ogre, a very large, thick corded ogre. This one seems to carry itself with a different air about him, a much more knowing and enlightened kind of look. And so it looks you in the eye. You kind of instinctively kind of go for your bow, which is not there. And at this point, he kind of steps forward, and you hear this kind of thunderous.
Who seeks my power?
Oh, Aladdin's here.
I stand a little
Diamond
taller,
in
puff up my
the
chest
rough.
a little.
Okay.
And say, Clandon Silverfire Murphy.
What makes you think you're worthy of my strength?
And he flicks you like Hercules and the giant one-eyed Cyclops. And the stomach just poof.
I may not be as big as you, but I have the courage of a dragon, and I hit my breastplate with the dragon emblem on it.
Okay. Okay, make a persuasion check with advantage.
Oh, that didn't go well last time. Sarah's over here laughing at me.
19? Okay.
Silverfire Murphy.
And so he goes,
Well, little Murphy, you may have my power, but there may come a day that you are not worthy to wield it, and I will rescind this gift.
and then at this point, you kind of like fist bump with him, slow motion. Shking. And you feel just this surge of just power, like your muscles flex, and as you kind of wake up in the morning, you're stiff and sore, but it's almost like you had been running and working out for who knows how long.
Muscle gain.
And you kind of go to put your shirt on, and you pull your jacket up with these new gauntlets on, and you find that it's a lot tighter in the arm regions, and as you kind of put your jacket on, you kind of flex a little bit. You hear a few of the stitches start popping in the back as you kind of like try and pull it forward where you're used to having it, and you feel good. It's like the transformation of Captain America, the skinny boy before,
Nice.
muscular dude after.
Just Just call me Mr.
So I
America.
totally noticed this.
I
I look at him like,
What are you doing?
You look different.
You don't look so scrawny, my friend. What's going on? You swole? You juice?
I'm swole.
Yeah, everybody else wakes up. You guys are able to discuss. Gundren, he has a few more carts coming in the morning. He knows that he had a bunch of different people that he had commissioned to try and come and help begin the excavation and begin kind of doing things. He's taken detailed maps, speaking with Zarek, trying to put together a game plan for going and exploring the caves and making sure that it's safe for the miners, especially after having kind of the insight from you guys of all the different things that you guys had encountered. But at this point, you guys are able to, at this point, Sildar requests your assistance in trying to escort the prisoner back to Phandalin, where he can properly get him interred, or not interred, what's the word? Booked, if you will.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to help you with that.
So, all right. Well, we will leave as soon as we get the horses all drawn up. So let's go. And he starts barking orders and just, you there, go to get this, grab this, blah blah blah. So at this point, you guys are able to make your way back to Phandalin. There's a little bit of fanfare upon your return. There's a lot of buzz in this town, knowing that Sildar and Gundren had left, and there was a lot of different, orders kind of barked out on that note, especially after kind of all the different things that had been happening in the town. Those attempted assassination with the men with the dagger masks from the cult. People are looking for a reason to kind of forget it, put it past them. They're the type of people who are very hardy, very, very hard to put down. You see Sister Grail as you come into town. You see the Lion Show Coster. You're able to kind of see all the different people within the town itself. Do you guys have any particular destinations in mind in the town itself?
The first thing that I want to do is go. As we've been kind of on the road, I've been writing up another letter, and I'm actually going to go take it to that same gnome to be sent off to Waterdeep.
Okay. So he. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Kleiner.
I was just gonna say I'm anxious to get the spider.
Okay.
Somewhere more secure and.
Okay, so you guys are able to, I'll resolve the spider thing really quick. So you guys are able to take him, you place him into the jail, at which point Sildar is now joined by a couple of these younger page-like mages. You see that you recognize them based on their kind of countenance. They both are wearing a sigil that represents kind of their caste of being kind of journeymen in the craft of wizardry. At this point, they were set to guard the door, and they are kind of rotating shifts on who's kind of putting these incantations upon the door. You see that as they put him in there, one of them mutters under his breath and presses his index finger to the lock, and you hear it lock with a very sharp kind of clink, and they kind of reassure that nothing's going to happen. And then he also posts like several guards around the same thing, and he instructs people that do not speak to him under any circumstances, do not listen to him, and to don't let him out of your sight, kind of thing. So he's under lock and key 24/7.
I still don't trust that they're secure enough, so
Okay.
I'm gonna stay behind.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not going far either. I still have questions.
okay. So you guys hang out. This taking place near the kind of the town hall area / makeshift prison, for lack of a better place to do it. For Roland,
Yes.
I'm completely spacing out the other part of it.
So after I'm done with the gnome and the letter.
Oh, the letter. That's right. So you're going to the gnome, and upon kind of approaching, it's, oh, it's you again. Yes. Well, you got another letter to send, I see.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind, I've got another one to send off to Waterdeep.
Oh, yes, that's it, Waterdeep. And who's it for?
Just anyone in the Temple of Gond.
Anyone in the Temple of God. All right, let's see. All right, I've got it. All right. And just a letter, I see.
Yes, just the letter.
Okay. I'm trying to remember his rate from last time. Was it 1 gold?
I can't remember the rate.
My gut says 1 gold piece, but if you find otherwise, let me know. I'm just like, that would be 1 gold piece, and he takes the letter, and he kind of like does one of those magician's tricks where he kind of puts it in front of his hands, and then gone, disappears, and he says, it's well on its way, and is there anything else I can help you with today?
Not unless you know somebody who wants to buy a magical staff.
Magical staff. Well, now, if we were over closer to the Neverwinter, or perhaps some of those others, they might be able to find someone. But in this town, I think you'll find nothing more than country bumpkins and that sort.
That's what I thought. Thank you very much. You've been a help.
Yeah, no problem. And then he kind of goes about his things, hawking his wares.
I'm gonna head off to the Lion Shield is what it's called.
Lion Shield Coster.
Yeah, Lion Shield Coster, and I'm gonna see if the
over here.
Or the Electrum mug.
Okay. So upon entering, let's get it over here. No, not it. So coming into the room, you see upon approach. Sorry, I'm having a completely dumbfounded blank of her name. Lene. Okay, so she, as you kind of walk into the room, she's like, "Oh, it's some of my favorite customers. How may I help you today?" Roland, wasn't it?
Yes.
Excellent. What do you have today?
I've got an item here. It's not necessarily a item you would usually sell, but I was wondering if you had any use for it, or if you knew somewhere where I could sell it.
Well, perhaps. What? Let me have a look at it. And at this point, she kind of bustles behind the shelf, grabs a couple monocles to try and appraise said item. And it's the cup, correct?
Yeah, it's that mug of ale made out of electrum.
Well, this is.
I let her know that some dwarves have appraised it for about 100 gold.
Well, this is fine craftsmanship indeed. I don't know that we'd be able to find anyone here to perhaps purchase it, but I'm sure that we could probably find a buyer in one of the nearby towns. Perhaps Greenfield, Greenest, could be anywhere near the Neverwinter. We could go to. I think we could probably work something out. And you say they'd appraise it for 150 gold, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think I could do that for you. One moment, please. And she goes back and gets counts out the 150 gold. Gives it to you. Anything else I can do for you today?
No, that's everything. Thank you. Your supplies were invaluable in the mines.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. If you guys need anything at all, please come see me again. It's been some time. I've missed speaking with you.
Of course. And then I'll just give her a polite bow. And then...
Okay. So you leave the room. You're out in the hallway, or out in the dusty roads. What's everyone else doing? Aurora, were you with Clandon and Benfina or Roland? Or elsewhere?
I am looking for supplies for Tiger Lily.
Okay. Supplies like healing supplies, or?
Yes, healing potions.
Okay. So you're on the hunt for him. So I assume then you'd probably go and visit Sister Grail. She, I guess on approach, she kind of sees you. She's like, oh, Aurora, dearie. It's so nice to see you again. How are you doing? I see you. It's been some time since I've seen you.
Yes, we're doing pretty good, pretty good.
Excellent. Well, I can't say I'm doing pretty good for myself. The boys here are, you know, always making a ruckus, but we do quite well. And kind of gestures to the kids running around. You see the familiar child that previously was just kind of sitting staring ahead. He looks over, kind of doesn't really make a facial recognition, but he goes, "Hi."
Hello.
And then he kind of looks around and starts digging. The other boys sitting there. At this point, the two boys are kind of engaging a little bit more, talking. The one, you know, hey, I saw this really cool game that we want to play. Do you want to do that? And then the other boy's just kind of non-responsive. Just one's a talker, one's a listener. Sister Grail. Well, I see that you're kind of thirsty. Did you just get back in town? Is there anything I can get you?
Yes, I'm actually here to see if I can get any healing potions from.
Oh, well, healing potions. I think I've got one or two of them I've been working on in here. So if you'd like, come on inside. Come inside. She kind of sets the broom up next to the house, opens the door, goes inside. Stepping into the room, you hear her kind of shuffle off into the distance. You hear a couple bottles clinking from the distance. She comes back to the front door and she says, well, here's the batch that I just made just recently. It's something, you know, it's nothing too bad, but it'll do the trick just right. And she holds out. She's got these two healing potions. One of them has that same kind of vigorous kind of red color. The other one is kind of like more of a murky, kind of stony red color. But otherwise, they're seem like the normal health potions.
Why are they different colors?
Oh, well, I hadn't noticed that before, but usually they do that when they start to go sour. It should still work just fine, but it might be a little more bitter than you're used to. I'd advise being you know, if you're going to use that one sooner than later. But these they should both heal the same as they do before. If you see it go black, don't drink it. Perfect. Well, if you
How much do you want for that?
Oh well, don't you worry. I've had myself some words with Mr. Gundren, and he's willing to help compensate and help make things around. And I know that you guys have helped quite a lot for this, and we are all of this town is extremely grateful for you. So these two, this time anyway, I can provide to you in the house.
Oh, thank you so much. Is there anything I can do for you?
Well, no, it's been relatively quiet since you guys have been going. Honestly, with the bandits no longer in town, and all those nasty folk that came by a while back, it's been very quiet indeed. But I will be sure to let you know. Are you still staying at the Stonehill Inn?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. I'll tell Toblin if I need anything, then I'll let you know so you can get in touch with you.
Sounds good.
Oh.
Right, well, you have a wonderful day.
Absolutely. All right, boys. Hey, don't you throw that. And she kind of goes off, kind of doing the mother of the village thing to the local kids playing in town square.
Hey, sorry to interrupt.
Mm-hmm.
I actually I have to get going.
Okay.
I'm pretty tired and not feeling good, so
okay.
I'm kind of falling asleep here. So enjoy the rest of it. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
We'll see you.
Thanks, man.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Okay, so everyone's able to get into town. You're able to do that. You got that. What? Anything else? Clan and Vinfini, you guys are still chilling out at the town or with the jail?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind conversing with Sildar and kind of figuring out a plan what to do with this.
Okay. Well, I believe that we'll probably be able to hold him here for a few days, and we have regular kind of correspondence. I've sent with one of the locals that off to Neverwinter to have them send something from the Lord's Alliance, an entire detail, so that we might be able to transport him safely. The same as we were able to do to old Glassstaff, who is rightly rotting himself in jail at this point. But that's neither here nor there. I believe that we could do something like that. It might take a few days, 2-3 days, for them to be able to make the trip down here. But with someone as such high import as this one to get behind bars, I believe that we can definitely expedite this process very quickly.
Well, Sildar, as you may recall, I've been searching for my father, and you did mention to be careful talking to him, but he mentioned he may know. I asked him as well. As I asked you if he knew of someone that looked like my father based on my description I gave him, and it seems like he might know somebody who could be my father. I would like to speak with him, but I know that it may not be wise. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are.
He kind of pauses for a little bit, kind of puts a little bit of a furrowed brow thinking about it. Then he kind of rights himself back up and he says, well, that's perplexing. Being such a conniving creature, are you sure he didn't do it out of self-preservation?
I don't think so. Only one of our group was on their heels to killing him. So,
Fair
I
enough.
don't feel like he felt like he was in danger.
Alright, well, I don't know. I would say whatever he says, if he is speaking the truth, that it's probably much like the spiders that he takes on as his countenance, his visage, his avatar, so to speak. The webs that they weave with their words are very deep, and sometimes you don't know that you're caught in them until it's too late. So I would advise caution, but if you think it will bring peace to you, then we can arrange something. But I would prefer that we do it with that you not do it alone. That there are others present, so we might be able to monitor the situation.
Well, if you're willing to set it up, I would like to ask a couple more questions, learn what he knows, and of course, as you advise, I'll certainly take it with a grain of salt. And I'll treat it as speculation rather than truth.
Indeed, I think that's the wisest way to do it. And then when you find proof one way or the other, then you will not be surprised. The way. So
I'll run some errands in town, and if when you have that set up, if you can just let me know.
Yes, indeed. Give me an hour or two, and I will get the appropriate people put together. Perhaps you might want to bring some of your party members. But we will be here.
I appreciate it.
So you kind of dismiss out the room. He's left with the papers. You see Hamlin, the town mayor, kind of come bustling in, and he's like, Sildar, you've been gone so long, and we got all these papers to sign, and we need to do this. This person's getting blah, blah. And he just kind of goes off, and you just as you close the door.
I quickly scurry away as I hear the mayor start to talk.
He's like, oh, it never ends. So you go out into the room. Oh gosh, I don't know. I think it's because I stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm having a terrible time with names today. Zaron, at this point, is still kind of with you guys. At this point, he has cast a minor illusion spell on himself, so that he appears as another human being. But you do recognize his visage, and he kind of explains to you guys before you kind of enter the town that tieflings typically aren't well received, that they're usually, just to avoid any altercations unnecessarily, that he's kind of keeping this under wraps, so to speak. But he's kind of speaking with each of you, and has a particular interest in kind of talking with Aurora, specifically, and he upon approaching her, he says, you know, I've not been completely honest with you. I know that I said that we've for a long time I've been here, but I'm not entirely here on just for the mines themselves. I've been sent to make sure that you are okay by some of your family members. And I think that I may have stepped in it with this spider fellow, but I believe that my services rendered, I would consider them complete. If you are all right, I see that you are in good standing, your good position, and that in good health. I want you to know that I do apologize for any misgivings that I may have given you up to this point, and I rightly so deserved that right hook. It hurt.
So I just stare at him like disapproving and shock and horror and all these bad things.
Okay, so he kind of looks and he says, "Well, that's the same look that your mother gave me. I much don't want to meet that gaze once again. But if, with your leave, I will let you each attend to your business."
You can tell them they don't need to worry about me. I'm not.
Well, it is after all another's right to worry and care, but yes, I will relay the message for you. I may check in from time to time, but for now, I think that you are good. And with that, he's going to go ahead and walk out into the middle of the town. He's at kind of the town square area, and he's going to begin casting some kind of an incantation or a spell. You start to see the outside of his visage kind of have this steely blue kind of glow and thrum to it. The air around him starts to kind of like crackle and still. And you see for a moment, just before he finishes his incantation, he pulls out one of these lodestones that they were talking about earlier, one of these teleportation stones, and he kind of puts his hand to it. And his face, for just a brief moment, kind of looks a little bit at the stone, concerned, as if there's something just a little bit off. And then you see him vanish from sight using this teleportation. But you see, as he disappears, there's like an after image. It's kind of like when you've stared at a light too long and you close your eyes, you can still kind of see it. There's this after image of his visage kind of sitting there, which slowly kind of dissipates and fades off into the distance. The rest of the day goes relatively without incident. The town itself is thriving, bustling. Everyone at the Stonehill Inn is just trying to get information out of you. Everyone knows that you came back from the mine and that Gundren has found something big, and they're trying to squeeze you for information. They're trying to get every scrap of gossip that they can about this. Some, you get the sense, are probably nefarious in nature. Others are just simply, curious, and it's a boring town, and they just want to kind of have something to when their worries are off about. During this time, 2-3 days pass. They come with the cart. At which point they are able to transport. Before they transport, you wanted to talk to him. So, do you want to? Did you have something else that you wanted to attend to before speaking with him? The black spider.
Oh, are they ready?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, got distracted.
Oh, you're okay. Did you have something else that you wanted to do before then?
Before that, yeah, I wanted to run to the smithy and I had left some
Armor?
the hide being tan. No, I think
the tan,
he
yeah.
was making some armor for Aurora.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I want to pick that up.
Okay. So you guys for sake of brevity, I'll have you both kind of make your way up there. You find Aurora kind of walking after he disappears. She's kind of got these two potions. She kind of stows them away. She sees you. You're able to walk together to the smithy. Both of which point you hear the tang, tang, and he looks up and he kind of wipes the sweat from his brow. Oh, it's you again! It's you again!
Hello, good sir. How have you been?
Oh, we've been mighty fine. I've this dragon hide that you brought me. Oh, it's wonderful. This is absolutely exquisite thing to be able to work with. I haven't had something like this. And this here, the skull that you left over here. Oh, it's you know, people have been coming from miles around to see it. I've been charging them each a copper.
Well, I'm glad it could bring some income for you. Did you find any buyers for it?
Well, I did find a few people, but unfortunately, I kind of want to buy it myself. It's brought me a lot of good luck for that. So if you don't mind, I'd like to offer you, you know, a solid 50 gold pieces for it.
That sounds good to me. I'll make that deal. I hope it brings you more good fortune.
Oh, it's so far. I think I want to open a museum next door. I think that's you know, I know
where to bring my next dragon.
I'm a businessman at heart. You know, it's how I do things. But now you guys, you had some in addition to the tanning, the leather here, and he kind of pulls it out, gets it ready, and hands it off to you. He says, you know, bought and paid for it. It's ready to go. And for you, miss, I've crafted this fine leather. I've got this, and so he kind of comes out. This was leather for you, correct? The armor.
Yeah.
Okay. So he takes, after having the measurements, he pulls it out and he says, "All right, G, if you don't mind, let's do a quick test fit and make sure everything's going right. I don't, as you kind of see here, I'm not one place for changing, but if you like, you can use the bedroom in my house next door if that would appease you. I just want to make sure that it fits properly. So, you know, being my very first dragon scale armor, that hopefully serves you well."
Oh, no problem at all. I'll just do it right here. So I take my clothes off and.
Oh, miss! And kind of he turns. He's like full on blushing, big swarthy whatever man. Just turns into the corner. And is like, I don't know. Yes, miss. And he's at this point looking at the back wall. Clandon's like, yeah, look at this. This is. He's doing the Spider-Man. He's like, yeah.
Okay, so I get it all on.
Okay, so he turns around. He's like, "Oh well, just one moment." He takes a few things in here and there, tightens them, and he says, "I tried to make it as versatile as possible, but as you can see here, it's this is quite durable material. It's really quite fascinating. But at the end of it, I think that you'll find that it's in its own right. It's while it's not magical in its properties, it is resistant to some things I've found." And he takes out, at this point, he says, "If I may, I'd like to show you a bit of it." And he takes a vial of rat poison that he has on the shelf, and he kind of pulls it down. And he says, normally, in these kind of situations, these kind of poisons things, they either you have to eat them or inject it, or, you know, that kind of stuff. But if you see here, if I take this and I drip it on it, you just see as it hits the scales, you see the poison almost like hovering. You know those videos that you see of hydro, what is it called? It's the spray that they use that kind of like repels water and it just kind of hovers above it, doesn't even touch the surface. Yeah. It's like that with the poison, and it's kind of sitting up there. It's got the most unique properties. As you can see here, it's resistant to poison, and I think you might find that right well and handy. So if it suits you, like I said, bought and paid for, and I'd be more than happy if you find any more of this kind of material. I really did enjoy working with it. It was quite the ordeal.
Almost sounds like we should you should be paying us to make this armor.
Oh, I almost truth be told, if I hadn't charged you, I almost was going to beg you on my knees to be able to work on it. But don't tell anybody else. This is where you know, tradesman's secrets. But I do appreciate the opportunity to work with such fine work. Boy, I appreciate it. I mean, at this point, he kind of just once over the armor that he kind of is fixed for you is kind of a 2-3 piece kind of armor. It's like very soft comparative leather, very pliable, but hard at the same time, in the sense that, like, if you were to try and stab at it, this leather armor seems to have some kind of resistant properties. So this would be considered a +1 armor, leather armor. It'd be kind of like studded leather. So from a stats perspective, if you just want to put that down as +1, like a studded leather armor, and then
Okay.
the only other attribute is that it is resistant to poison, which means that you have advantage on saving throws against being poisoned. Okay.
Okay.
That's considered a homebrew item, so you just have to make sure and write that part down. He dispatches you, and he's...
I would add it to
Yes.
I'd add it to my armor class would go up to up 1.
Yes. So studded leather. All right, what are you wearing right now?
Regular.
So studded leather, I think, is 1 more than that, so you might go up 2. Studded leather.
Yeah, Roar can use some more AC.
Your armor, studded leather. Here we are. So studded leather is 12 plus your dex modifier, and then regular leather is... One moment. Leather equipment, breastplate is 11. So yes, you'll go up 2. So your base armor for it is 12 plus your dex modifier. Okay, so you get that. He puts it together, and it's all right, fine. Is there anything else I can do for you fine folks today? And ma'am, may I tell you, I would advise against disrobing in public. It's quite might be decent. But never mind.
Sorry, ask me again.
Oh, he just says, he says to you, he says, "Ma'am, and it's been fine with you, but I would ask you, you know, next time you give people warning, don't disrobe in public. It's a little bit indecent." But and he gets really uncomfortable and kind of clearing his throat. And never mind. Forget I said anything. He's getting kind of like blush. Well, is there anything else I could do for you folks today? At this point, he kind of like turns towards like the soot and stuff, and is kind of like smacking his face, trying to get himself righted.
I'm sorry. I just didn't think it mattered anymore.
No, you don't. He just kind of mumbles.
Just as long as I have.
So, well, is there anything else I can do for you folks today?
Just keep honing that skill of yours.
Absolutely. And if you hear anybody, you know, wanting to see a dragon head, you send them my way. Right. Or Copper. Copper to see something you never see in your lifetime.
Alright, I walk away, wave goodbye.
Alright, goodbye. And then he kind of goes back, ting, back to work. So you guys are able to go back, and you make it back to the town hall. At this point, Sildar greets you at the front door. Hamlin is still just pecking at his ear. Not now, man. Not now. Just, and so he kind of dismisses him off, and he says, "Well, Clandon, if you're ready, we can speak with him."
Venfina's still there, right?
Venfina, I assume, is still standing guard?
Yep.
Yep.
I'm like, Roy Venfini, I'm gonna talk to the Black Spider. If you want to join, I had some more questions to follow up. Want to see what I might be able to find out about that man he mentioned that could be my. You're welcome to join me if you'd like.
I will stay and observe perceptively.
Yeah, right.
You're welcome to ask your own questions too.
I don't trust anything.
Okay. So you guys kind of come in. You see one of the page or the journeyman. The other one kind of resting nearby. He kind of reaches over and he says, "All right, here we go." And here we go. And touches the lock. You hear a click sound as it magically unlocks. The door starts to swing open. Well, you know, you get all the time you need, but just let me know if you need anything. And he goes over and sits down, pulls out a couple of tomes and scrolls, and he's kind of really busy at work, trying to do whatever he's doing.
So I step inside. What kind of room is it? Is it?
This one is a cell. It would be similar to that of a sheriff in an old western. You know, like it's in the town hall. It's kind of more of a holding room than anything. But he's kind of sitting in the corner in a meditative state. Still has the shackles on each of his hands. Avoiding, obviously, he's sitting in the shadows of the room, avoiding any light that might be coming in.
Did you just say he's shitting in the shadows?
No, sitting in the shadows.
I was like, man, let's give this man a little bit of privacy.
Hold on! Just a moment! Too much limbus! Yeah, so he's just kind of chilling. He doesn't open his ears, or open his eyes, but you see his ears kind of perk as he hears the door open and you walk into the room. You again.
Of course. What's his name again? I was trying to scroll and find it.
Nesnar?
Nesnar.
Nesnar.
I would speak with you.
Well, get on with it. What can I do with you?
Clandon, do you want me to cast that honesty thing?
Ooh, yeah, that was pretty good. Why not? If you don't mind, let me help you.
No.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it.
I just like awkwardly like twiddle my fingers like, oh, just one moment.
He can't see you, so he's just kind of waiting expectantly.
Sorry, I'm trying to find
They
it.
treating you well enough? Are you comfortable?
Not having to sit in the corner.
As well as one can be in this wretched land of light. Loath, burn. Each of this burning ball in the sky. May one day it sink into darkness and never return.
Well, I hope not. I quite enjoy the sun myself.
Does it not burn your eyes? Does it not char your flesh if you stay in it too long?
You know, I grew up in farmland, and my skin has become quite accustomed to being in the sun.
Well, that can't be helped. You're blinded by its light and obviously unable to see the dangers that it poses. Zone of Truth, 10 minutes. So he needs to make a charisma saving throw. Okay. He fails it. He rolled a 3. So at this point, he kind of, you see him kind of
tilt his head a little bit and kind of raise his ear, kind of to feeling a kind of a subtle change in the wind kind of thing. And he kind of speaking with you. Clandon, you also need to make a saving throw, please.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
And this will just see if you are able to. Charisma. It needs to be higher than a. What's your spellcast modifier, Vampina?
Oh,
Okay, so you're also under the effects of this zone of truth.
No, fair enough.
Okay, so speaking with him,
Well, what have you come here for? Have you come to heckle me? To rub it in my
I'm not
face?
to heckle you. I'm not one to heckle those who have already
Heckle.
been heckled. I do not heckle those who are in circumstances that you have currently found yourself. While I may not agree with what you have done, I don't needlessly treat people illy. But I did come with a few questions. As I mentioned back in the cave, I'm searching for my father, and you had mentioned that you a man that may have matched the description that I gave you. I was hoping you would be willing to tell me more about this man.
make a persuasion check with advantage because you guys did fulfill your promise to getting him here safely.
Wait, not intimidation.
Persuasion, yeah. 11. So, he kind of dips his head back and forth and he says,
Yes. Well, I did say that if he would get me here safely, I might have information for you. But this information may betray some of those people, and I would nary want to be on the bad side of their intentions. But the manion that I believe I was speaking of, his name was Doskuskulf.
That's quite a name.
D-O apostrophe S-C-O space Scolf. S-C-O-L-F.
I told you that he was the man that gave him the scar, and I meant it.
Sorry, say that again?
I told him that he was the man who gave your father that scar, and I meant it.
Ah, he's the man who gave my father the scar. Doskuskov?
Mm-hmm.
And who is this man?
Oh, he's one of the people that I have worked with in other places and towns to undermine the society. I don't know why I'm saying this. Something fishy going on here, isn't it?
What do you mean?
You can't lie.
He's kind of pause. He's gonna pause for a second, and then
I'm
he'll.
not lying.
That's true. That's true.
So he.
Just asking him to clarify.
I feel funny, but my head's not quite straight.
The affected creature is aware of the spell.
Is aware of the spell. Okay, so.
And thus avoid answering questions to which it would normally respond with a lie.
So at this point, he's kind of caught on to the ruse, and he says,
You're doing something fishy to get information out of me, but I've told you nothing that that hasn't been the truth.
My apologies. It's just a precaution. My companion cast a zone of truth, and that I shall tell equal truth as you.
Loth take you, but I suppose. He just know that he is a dangerous man that travels these parts and is somewhat of a mercenary. And in the Underdark, you find him in many different places, different names. But I believe the last he was seen was in the city of Cholt.
Oh, I appreciate. Thank you for that information. And is there anything you can tell me of my father? Again, I've only have one brief memory of him as a child, and I the description I gave you is all I know of him.
Well, if I remember correctly, he was a man that was willing to sacrifice much for power. He worked with many dangerous creatures and people, and in the end, last I had heard of him, he had found a way to unlock many of these seals that have been placed. And there were many that would kill for that kind of information, as you can understand, and see that this type of power is not one that just one man ought to wield, but an entire organization, such as mine.
Do you happen to know his name?
Well, people speak of him in different ways, but the way that people generally refer to him as the Traveler. Other than that, we don't know where he came from, aside from me recognizing the looks on your face.
If you, my last question, then I'll leave you in peace.
Please do, this is boring me.
When was the last time you saw him, or where was it that you had met this man?
Well, last I saw him, he was sneaking about in my Wave Echo cave. I'd seen him and heard reports that the Traveler might have been meddling in some of my other areas of... Sorry, I'm having... That's Preston coughing, because my throat is scratchy. I'd heard reports by some of my people that he had meddled in some of my things, but no confirmed sightings, only rumors and ghost stories meant to make men turn on their heels and run.
I appreciate it. And as a courtesy for the information, I will speak with the men here and ensure that you're treated well as can be given your circumstance, and that we do everything possible to ensure your safe transfer to Winterstone. Where is it go? What's it called?
Neverwinter?
Neverwinter.
Well, I see it as weakness. Your honor has proven true so far. Thank you.
And at that, I tap on the door, let the guard know we're done.
Okay. It opens the door. You come out. They relock the door, kind of resecure things, and you're able to kind of disseminate from that point. You're able to talk a little bit, and you see kind of expectantly Sildar. Well, did you get the information you were looking after?
I believe so. It's more information than I had before, and thanks to Vinfina here, I believe he's telling the truth. Because him and I both were in her zone of.
Fair point, and
she spoke of two people, and maybe you've heard of them. One is Doskakov, apparently a dangerous man. It sounds like he's doing similar work as he. I imagine he also works for Loth, a mercenary. Last seen in the city of Cholt, it sounded like. And then the man who he believes matches the description that I gave him of my father is known as, he said, the Traveler.
Traveler. Well,
I don't know if
I don't know anyone by that name. I've heard whispers and things of different ongoings and companies from mostly just ghost stories to make people go bump in the night. But for this Dusko, can't say that I know him particularly well. I apologize. My reach of information is limited to my circle of influence, which kind of ends here in Phandalin.
no problem, but definitely Duskerkov is a name to maybe be wary of, and if you hear rumors of him, let us know, and we
Indeed.
help to.
I will register it into the ledger here in the town and make sure that the townsfolk, if they hear of anyone that goes by this name, that we will apprehend him immediately.
Just be cautious.
Can I do a history check on hearing that name? See if I know it by any others.
Which one?
The Doskokov.
Go for it. Just do a flat history check. 18. So when you guys were in right, when you guys were in Neverwinter,
I save them.
you recall that when you were helping some of the children and other things, being in that town, and you tend to hear things, you see things, especially if you're on the streets a lot. And since Vinfina, you were kind of caring for the kids and kind of that area, some of them are pickpockets and otherwise, and you're basically trying to put them on the path, the righteous path. You hear different stories and things, and you've
You're saying I'm hearing this in Phandalin?
No, this was in Neverwinter, the very beginning when you started. So at the particular temple that you were kind of helping, feed these children, keep them, you'd heard whispers and talks of you don't want to get on his bad side. You don't let Bloodletter know that you're doing such things. Don't these if it gets around, then he knows what you're doing, and he's watching, just kind of like boogeyman stories. But you recognize that this golf character has been known in different areas by different people by different names. But this specific one is one that you do recognize as being kind of his what do you call it?
Alias?
It's his name, and then his alias he goes by. Sometimes it's Bloodletter. Sometimes it's
Bloodletter or letter?
Letter.
Okay.
Like he is like a butcher. He cuts your throat, lets the blood come out. Bloodletter. Others you've heard him called the Crimson One. Others he's gone by many different kind of names, but the ones that you're familiar with, you do recognize him as being kind of a little bit more notorious mercenary who's not known for mercy.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I convey those other names. Bloodletter.
Okay.
And
I was close. I was listening to
what was it?
The Crimson One.
The Crimson One.
I'm writing them in here.
I sure hope he doesn't find his way. Which direction are we from Neverwinter?
You're south.
South? Okay.
Yep. So if we jump over here real quick for geography lessons.
Or no, that'd be southeast.
Up here.
In Neverwinter, is he prone to staying in that area? Or
No.
is he claimed?
He doesn't necessarily do turf, but when he does come into town, usually a lot of the other ruffians will back off. You know what I'm saying? Like he's
he's like the head gangster when he comes in.
Kinda. He's less of a head gangster and more of a don't get in his way, because if he's in town, it's bad for our business. Let him do his thing. Let him leave.
Get out as quickly as
Yeah. So where you guys are at is down here, and if you go straight north where you guys came from, Neverwinter, it's up here.
So kind of where we
Where's
killed
the
the
city
dragon.
of Cholt? Do I know, or should I do a history check?
Yeah, do a quick history check. It doesn't sound immediately familiar, so it's got a relatively high.
Why do I know it? Rebecca.
Schult?
Oh, freak.
Why do you know it as Rebecca? Because in your other campaign, that's where you went.
Oh, okay.
You're trying to go. So 16, 22. Okay, so yeah, as far as Schultz concerned, so what was the second roll for? I'm confused.
Sorry, I rolled advantage. I re-rolled without advantage.
Oh, it's okay. I'll just take the first one.
Alright, that's fine.
Okay. Or the one on the right. Whatever. Not advantage, left. It's the one on the left. So 12. So at that point, you're trying to remember. You don't recognize the name. It seems like you've heard in storybooks and other kind of stuff that there's lots of islands, there's lots of other places. Most of the geography that you're familiar with is here in the Sword Coast, like up in kind of the northern parts of it, closer to Waterdeep and those kind of places. But do you want to ask anyone about it? What do you?
Not at this time.
Okay. So at that point, you've got it all out. He's kind of moved on to town for a couple of days. Everything goes pretty quiet. You get some people coming back and forth from the mines. Some of them bringing with them, some unrefined ores, other things, and you see that the commerce in this town is beginning to pick up. And so upon having all of this kind of like this peace and kind of everyone enjoying it, the kids, playing in the streets, you get more and more people, more and more houses are being built in this area. Phandalin itself is expanding. Phandalin is beginning to attract a lot more attention now that the word is spreading to the nearby areas of Leylon, Neverwinter, all these different areas in the Sword Coast. People are starting to kind of come here in search of their own, kind of stake their claim in the gold, but you guys each, are able to kind of converse with the town, enjoy it. At one night, when you guys are kind of sharing a drink in the inn itself, you do hear outside that it's kind of a bad weather again. We're getting into the later seasons, and you start hearing more thunder and lightning. The water is washing the streets, and you see many waylaid travelers come in and out of the inn. One of which, one day you kind of are, as you're drinking, you hear the door open. As normally you kind of expect someone to come in, water sodden, kind of boots sticking to the floor, really what have you, but you hear the distinct sound of like a heel, a high heel, to be specific, on wood, and you hear, and this figure that is in a kind of a shimmering light gray cloak is kind of approaching the counter, and this person has stark white hair, fair skinned, very youthful if you were for the untrained eye, but looking at her from the elves' perspective, Venfina and Aurora, you recognize that this person is very old. This very person is very their eyes speak a lot to what they have seen in their lifetime. And you see her come to the counter and begin speaking with the bartender and Barth, and you see him kind of back and forth exchanging. And
Can I see her lips?
no, her back is to you, but you do see his lips, and he says, "Oh yeah, they're right over there, and can I get your name, or can I get you anything?" And you kind of see the back of her head kind of shake, and she turns around and walks very calmly. You do notice, especially Venfina being so perceptive, she is dry. She is like dry, not to be what you would have expected from her having just walked in from the torrential storm from outside. And so as she kind of approaches, she says, "Well, hello, travelers. Do you have a seat at your table that I might be able to speak with you for a moment?"
She's talking to us, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Oh.
She walked
Yes,
directly
come
up to you.
in. Stay a while.
Thank you. And she kind of takes her leaves her cloak on, for lack of a better word, sits down at the table, and kind of sits up very prim and proper, and she kind of looks across the table as she says, "Well, I've heard a lot about you. I've traveled a very long distance to speak with you. I'm afraid I come with a little bit of bad tidings and news. Well, do you have a more private place that we might be able to speak of these matters?"
Of what matter?
Well, it's I don't want to cause a panic. And she's kind of looking around in the room, just kind of the different people who are just kind of different merriment that's going on. She says, "You know, these towns tend to spread a lot of gossip, and I would hate for people to cause unnecessary grievances for just a simple, misunderstood word."
Do we have a room yet?
Yes, you guys have had room. You guys have a standing room in that.
Yeah.
It's paid for at this point by Gundren. So you guys' room and board is taken care of.
I would like to do a.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Divine sense.
Okay, go ahead. So you're going to look for fiends, undead, all that good stuff.
I'm looking for powerful good.
Okay. Undead, vampire, counts. Okay, so seeing her, you do get a sense that you've sense where normally undead you'd kind of get that noxious odor, that really kind of pungent, ripe smell of just kind of like decay. You get more of a sweet smell from her, like the way that when you cast your eyes on her, she's got more of a warm glow to her. But there is something off kilter about her. Like normally, if you were to read someone's auras and you're kind of looking at these things, you're kind of used to seeing kind of the dark splotches, the light splotches. When people are going through turmoil or what have you. You notice that her aura itself seems to be kind of siphoning off of her countenance, which is very kind of odd instead of like its normal I guess whatever you want to call it, visage.
Okay. Do I know if she's like trying to shield herself or?
No, you don't get the sense that she's shielding herself. Based on the way that she carries herself, the way that she's human, but her eyes speak volumes of just of wisdom and age and just like the depth of knowledge that you wouldn't expect from a human, especially someone who looks as kind of young as she does.
Oblivious to Venfina's divine sense, I go ahead and respond to her question. I was like, "Well, we do have a room upstairs we could use."
That would be perfect if you don't mind. If we may retire there for a short recess. Just again, I have some ill tidings that I would like to share in private. So you guys head up the stairs. You enter the room. And as you guys are sitting there and you're talking, she essentially is a kind of coming into the room. You each come to sit down. At this point, you hear a knock on the door. It's the innkeeper. He kind of opens it. He says, "Oh, ma'am, did you want your drink?" And she's like, "Oh, thank you. Yes." She kind of takes the goblet from him and some wine of some kind, and she sits down and she says, "Well, I apologize that I've kind of shown up unannounced. My name is Sindra Sylvain. I myself am an archmage, or was at some point. And I want to speak to each of you. I've heard that you have dealt with the Black Spider. Is this accurate?"
Yes. Yes, it is.
It's good news. When you were able to commandeer him, had he encountered any items, any particular artifacts that you know of?
Can we take a step back real quick? Could you tell us more about yourself? Where you come from?
Yeah. Absolutely. As you can see, I am a human. I have lived far to the south of here for many years. I've watched over and shepherded many different kind of adventurers, if you will. Specifically, a few children that were under my tutelage. I believe that you have encountered a few of my journeymen here in town that are working as pages for Sildar. We have worked together on many different occasions, but specifically, you might know of my sister here in town. And at this point, she kind of pulls her cloak back a little bit, and you do see a brooch that Venfina and Aurora would recognize as being the Harper's brooch. This being the brooch that Sister Grail had shown and also given each of you.
Gotcha. So I speak up and say, Clandon, she's definitely someone we can trust.
Okay. Well, I'll take your word for it. We'll send you, and I'll just kind of, for brevity, give her the details of what we know, what we discovered with the black.
Okay. So she says, "Well, then that is a relief, and also a little perplexing. Many years ago, there was an artifact of great power that has been crafted many different things for different reasons, and one of those things that was crafted by one of the powerful archmages created an item that its intent at the time was to create a defense against those who were godly in power or those who believed themselves above death. This particular item, we refer to it as the Soulmonger.
Sorry, say that again?
The Soulmonger.
Soulmonger.
The Soulmonger, a tool of terrible destruction. This device, when in the wrong hands, may be used to inflict a terrible death curse upon anyone who is inflicted with this disease. Should they fall ill or should they die, then there is no recourse for them. It will capture their soul, it will retain it, and then it will slowly rip it apart piece by piece until it's never as though it had never been existed at all. Even through other divine means, no one has been able to overcome this death curse. And I myself, having died once, and having been raised from the dead, I have since closed the door on that stage of my life, but the death curse that I have told you about, it has struck me.
I don't know how much longer I'll last before I perish, and clerics have no help to offer. They're stymied by what is happening. My contacts in the Harpers have learned that the cause of this death curse is indeed the necromantic artifact called the Soulmonger. According to the sorcerers, this device was last seen in Cholt. However, there has been said that there may have been manuscripts left behind in the mine that may have given us some details or an inkling of where it might be kept, or what weaknesses it might have, or perhaps a method to undo its magic entirely. But from what you have told me, this is not the case, which brings me joy to know that someone else cannot exploit its powers or recreate one, but sadness in that we do not have that added information.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
How do you know you've been afflicted or struck by the curse?
This particular curse is... Hold on. Excuse me.
We're really dying.
This curse works by those who are in its proximity. What? This curse seems to work based on the proximity of the artifact in question. As soon as it's begun, you will see the afflicted will slowly waste away, their life force being siphoned from them. Each night, they grow closer to death's door, and once they do pass, they are gone. What causes, aside from proximity, we do not know, but we do know that there has been a very large rash of people who have been falling ill under mysterious circumstances, and we have traced part of that cult that seems to be spreading this death curse here in Phandalin itself.
And is there a way to stop it?
Oh, the only way that I am aware of is to destroy and dismantle the artifact itself. For in its core, it will continually siphon the life around it until it has consumed all in its wake.
As she was describing it, I had a flashback memory to when we first came that night, and that morning after we came out of the cave, and it makes me just kind of wonder myself, and I keep it to myself, but I wonder that morning and the feeling we had of not, sleeping well and just kind of feeling off canter, kind of comes to memory.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So you get that sense, and at this point, Roland's not here, but Roland will likely have spoken up, and at this point, she kind of makes eye contact with him, and she says, "I see you too are inflicted with this death curse. Have you been raised from the dead?" And he responds in kind, yes, that he had. "That is dire news indeed. You will suffer the same fate as I, if we are unsuccessful in our endeavors." And from that, she goes to... If we are to find this artifact, we must work quickly. Time is not on our side, I'm afraid. Cholt is where we must go, and this is well beyond a 10 days ride to the south. I do not believe that we will make it there in time, but should you be willing to help in this endeavor, which I hope you do for the sake of your companion here, we can travel by teleportation, should you decide that this is the course of action you'd like to take. Do not take it lightly, though. Cholt is a place fraught with dangers and untold horrors that have not yet been tamed by man.
I just heard of Schult recently. We questioned the spider, and a name that he spoke to us under a truth zone was Duskoskov. It seems to be a compatriot of the spider, and I believe to maybe work for Lolf as well.
With that, she kind of sneers a little bit. She says, well, if the Crimson One is involved in all of this, then we might be in worse for wears than I had initially thought. I would not cross him lightly.
Okay, well, once again, we gotta save Roland.
Well,
what is it gonna cost us this time?
500 gold.
Well, I'm afraid your friend here, there's nothing that you can pay for.
How much time do we have?
I'm afraid that
He's done?
most people, once they have been taken by this effect, which your friend seems to have only begun.
How would he have been afflicted? It would have had to have been in the Echo Cave, which would make me think that the spider would have had this artifact in hand, but we searched him and didn't find such an item.
At times, if someone is killed and is raised from the dead, their bond with their body is weakened. It becomes more difficult for that person to be reunited with the flesh, if you will. It's similar to to should you tear a cloth and then weave it back together, it will suit its purpose, but with additional tearing, it will become more and more difficult to put it back together. And it seems from the description that your friend here has died in a most desecrated place. And my inkling is that he may be somehow the powers of this artifact may have been causing more of a resonance, if you will, with the ley lines of that. Particularly.
So maybe it doesn't have to be in such proximity.
Perhaps not. And for our sakes, I hope that is not the case. You have not heard of anyone here falling ill aside from yourself, have you?
I haven't. Finfina, Aurora, have you?
Give me a history check.
Lost Aurora, by the way.
That's okay. We'll wrap up here in just a sec. So you. If you recall, there was 17, yes. So, Venfina, you recall when you guys came back to town and you had fought and there was the little boys and you had talked to them and you guys were attacked. There were those dudes that like went all mummy-like when you pulled their masks off. There was a bunch of people in town that were falling ill and kind of having that siphon, if you will, but they all seem to have recovered. So it doesn't sound exactly the same, but you do remember that happening. You what? You don't know for certain, but she says, well, that doesn't sound like the curse, because once the curse happens, it usually will fall, but...
Perhaps they've been, if they do have this artifact, perhaps they are experimenting with it.
For our sakes, let us hope not. But from the sounds of it, those are very similar to the
well,
symptoms.
To answer your question, I don't feel we have a choice. We will do anything to help one of our own, and others at that. So, I won't speak for everybody here, but I believe we will be taking on this quest.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, but please let me give you one last forewarning before. But you will be faced with both enormous reptiles, savage goblins, and an army of undead prowling its jungles.
Mapping this place has always been nigh impossible, and nothing is known about the region's current geography beyond a few miles from the coast. Working from dozens of sea charts, logbooks, and explorers' journals, I assembled everything known about the current state of Cholt into one map, and I will provide it to you. If, seeing as you have undertaken my mission, she hands it over, and then I'm going to give you guys a different link that's actually going to pull you into the other Roll20 campaign, which is the new kind of seed, and then that will have the handout there for you. When you're ready to depart, I will teleport us all to Port Nyanzaru, the only major settlement in Cholt. I've been there several times before, so there's little chance of mishap, but once we're there, I'll stay with a friend named Wakanga Otamu. He is one of 7 merchant princes who rule that city. So if you would like to, I would appreciate it, but I have you know that I want to impress upon your minds that this is potentially something you may not come back from, and I do not want that on my conscience should something happen to you.
One question.
Yep.
I'm not familiar with that town or settlement you mentioned.
Okay.
Is it smaller, larger than here in Phandalin? Would we be better to prepare here in Phandalin and resupply, or would we be able to better resupply?
As far as you get the chance, you guys have kind of picked this city clean, but with more people coming in, there's potential that you might get it, but in short notice, you're probably going to be better served finding stuff elsewhere, because like the back of your hand, you've already kind of asked your usual players for different stuff and kind of used their bled them dry.
Okay.
Oh. Well, if it's everyone ready?
Is there anything at the mine that we wanted to, I guess, look at or ask?
Do we have time?
Yes, you may have time. I don't suppose. I'll go check with the innkeeper to ensure that there is a place I can stay for the night. And then once you get your things in order, then we may do it. But I implore you to hurry, because each night grows death quicker to death's door, and most succumb to this death curse within 20 days.
Well, should we wait till our other companions wake up, and we can fully discuss this with everyone and work up a plan?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Sounds good. So she says, all right, at dawn we plan. And that's where we're going to end it for tonight. So, sorry it went long. I just wanted to make sure that we got all of the setup done, so that way you don't have any kind of
I was
like
wondering,
weird
I'm
moments.
like, dang, I forgot to ask Sildar if you had any new quests for us.
So, yep. So that was a little bit. So that was the Lost Mine of Phandelver. The Lost Mine of Phandelver. So, thank you guys for playing. Hopefully everybody have fun, and we will continue. I guess I'll send a text out tomorrow when everybody's kind of more sprightly and awake. We can hit for either next Friday or the one after, one of the two. Probably the 23rd, I would guess. What? Wait, is that Thanksgiving?
No, the next one would be Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. If everybody's down for the 16th, I'm down. But
Okay.
I'll have to talk with Sarah.
Okay, we'll shoot for that.
That way we can then skip the 23rd and maybe meet up again the 30th.
Yeah. Okay. We will make that. I'll send out a text message, see what everybody's feeling.
Do a Thanksgiving special.
Thanksgiving special. Yeah, I'm good with
The
that.
giant turkey from Phandalin.
The Crypt Keeper was a turkey. Gobble, 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 gobble.
Turkey from the crypt.
Why do turkeys make such good bad guys? Because they're always gobbling.
Close.
Dad joke. Bam. Psh, got it. Check, please. All right.
Anyway, all right. Well, we're good. Good job, everybody. I will, since again, some people fall off. We'll do the experience and all that other stuff next week.
Yeah.
But
Sounds good.
Shiki. All right, guys. Have a good evening.
Appreciate it. It was fun.
Yep. I'm gonna give everybody on the stream a quick 1-2, but then yeah, if you wanna bounce off, you're good. So everybody, thanks for coming. Just a quick reminder, we are still doing Extra Life 2018. It will be going until the end of December. So at December 31st or January 1st, whatever, is when it will close. So if you do want to participate in that, we are trying to amass a total fund as a team of $1,000 for Extra Life, which is a charity. If you're not familiar, my shirt here, Extra Life. We've been doing it for, I think, 3 years now. Well, not in succession, but 3 years total that we've participated in it. And essentially, it's money that goes towards helping sick kids in Children's Miracle Network. My kids have benefited from going to Primary Children's Hospital. I know lots of people. I cannot say enough good things about the doctors and wonderful men and women that help in those things. So this is just to help try and cover some of those costs and things. So if you're interested and you want to find out more, go to twitch.tv/fuzzy-squirrel, all one word, fuzzy-squirrel, and down in the description you'll see a button that says help me, basically help support kids for Extra Life. Click that. That'll take you over for the donation link. You can participate in more ways than just donating. You can also share, which is a great way to be able to help get visibility on it, and is just as important as monetary donations. But those of you who do monetary donations, we appreciate it. If we hit $500, I will be shaving my head bald. And if we hit $1,500, I'll shave my head and my eyebrows. So that's incentive if you guys want to see me look a little bit funny. We also are running a promotion with Team Nom. Team Nom is doing a giveaway for those who are in here. We're going to try and do kind of twofold. If we hit, let me get it up. If we hit the $1,000 mark, we're going to be doing, Team Nom is going to be doing a giveaway for a $50 gift card to Steam, Xbox, or PlayStation, whichever one of your choice. Or you could get a Dungeons & Dragons starter set with the player's manual, player's handbook. If you're unfamiliar, that's about a $50 value. Or you can get your choice of a single other D&D module. So if you're a veteran D&D player and you don't want a starter kit, then that works too. To qualify, if you want, go to facebook.com/teamnomgaming, and from there you'll see the post. You can share it, all that good stuff. Like, again, it's all a matter of just getting more people to see it. So it's all about quantity and just having fun, make it enjoyable. We have actually 2 other starter sets that are coming in the mail today. They will also be given away. So if we get a certain subscriber count, which is to be determined, then we will go ahead and do a drawing and giveaway for all the people who are following. And those who are subscribing obviously will get some kind of benefit. Maybe it's like double tickets or something. So, but again, thank you guys for coming. We will catch you next week at Thursday. That is 9 o'clock Mountain. Are we on daylight time now or standard time? Whatever that is. So 9 o'clock Mountain time. We'll just say Mountain time. That's easier. So thank you guys for coming. Bye-bye.